dried out tears of sorrow, lacking all emotion, staring down the barrel, waiting for the final gates to open to a new tomorrow, moving with the motion, following the light that sets me
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's action here for the Super Sunday. We're here with the Purple Sector Formula One League here tonight. Obviously, their realistic car performance season, running this season this week, right? Rounds 5 and 6. So tonight, round 5 here at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix for the. I believe they're crossplay now, is it? I'm actually not sure. We're going to see in a second. I'll be reminded in a moment. But we're about to go lights out here for the start of the race. Just had the qualifying session a few moments ago. Full grid as well, 20 cars out on track tonight, which is absolutely fantastic. That's what we like to see. We like to see a good turnout. We like to see everybody well represented here. So here we go, lights coming on the head of the grid. We're about to get racing here for the British Grand Prix at Purple Sector. And it's lights out and away we go. And Vista there gets a good start from pole position. As we can see Tezza there tucking in, trying to look around the outside. We got Justify there with Street Boy moving ahead of Matty Pitt up into 4th place. And we got a virtual safety car already. What has happened here? So already some sort of kind of incident. Doesn't look like there's anything particularly that's gone on. So, JB Lego hasn't moved off of the line. So that's why we've got a VSC disqualified for having not even moved off of the grid. So really strange situation there for JB Lego. Obviously a newcomer to the league here tonight. But yeah, wow. I mean, that was unexpected. But nonetheless, it's Vista leading as they come down the Wellington Straight for the first time. Not in anger, unfortunately. We're not really seeing much racing at this particular moment in time. It's Vista from Tesla with Justify ahead of Street Boy, Matty Pitt there ahead of Nathan, followed by Mr. Johan, Truckee ahead of Magpie Toon, with Brinky completing the top 10, V10 Ultra in 11th ahead of Oliver, followed by Nino Blanco, Ruck there behind them ahead of Nelly Reggie in P15. Then you got Islandberg, Rexy Boy T, and Stiffmeister running now in 19th and last place at the moment. As we're still on the virtual safety car at the moment, looking like the track obviously for some reason is not being green, or not being not allowing us to continue racing just yet. Not really sure why, because the issue that was causing the safety car has now left the session. Oh, as we see T there having a moment coming out to hang a straight, and it's just out to Stiffmeister. So Stiffmeister moving up into P18. But Vista from Tesla, Justify Street Boy, Matty Pitt, as we can see the virtual safety car has now ended, so we're now back underway here in earnest as we come down towards Vale Chicane here to complete the first lap of the race nearly. See a big lock up from one of the cars in the foreground there as they came into Vale, but looking very tidy so far on this first lap from pretty much everybody here. 19 drivers still in the race, no major incidents really so far apart from T making that mistake going out to hang a straight. Not sure if that was another car involved in that one, but for the time being Vista has the lead and looking quite comfortable out the front at the moment ahead of Tezza Muzzer. There's Justify here trying to put the pressure on Tezza as they're coming through the loop here out onto the Langton straight here for the first time racing speeds here in this race because of that untimely VSC, as we've got T there who's retired from the race at the early stage of this one. We've got Justified there to the inside of Tezza coming on towards the end of the Wellington straight, but too far back just at the moment. We've got V10 there moving ahead of Brinky up into P10 going through Brooklyn. So V10 Ultra now up a position now into the points. You can see that Islandberg's also got ahead of now you're around the outside there going into Luffield. So that's now Islandberg up into P15 as well. Islandberg on the soft tyres compared to Nelly Reggie on the mediums. That'll obviously give him a pace advantage at this point in the race. The top 12 all on soft tyres, all starting on a faster but less durable tyre for this one. So it'll be interesting to see if any of these medium runners towards the back can pay dividends towards the end of the race, if that can work out for them later on. But so far, so tidy here in this one. T out of the race, obviously down to 18 runners here in the early stages, but Vista out in front has got the lead, comfortable to Taz, and nearly a second already, separating those two at this point. As we can see here, side-by-side action between Stiffmeister and Rexy Boy, and Stiffmeister there squeezing around the outside of Vale as the inside there for the second part, and has made the move into Club Corner, and Stiffmeister there up into 17th place without any major issues there. Rexy Boy trying to come back at him, or trying to get close coming into Abbey, but way too far away, and obviously Abbey's not really overtaking toilet place even if you're alongside, so basically if you're behind you have to just back the hell out of it pretty much, otherwise it's going to be a disaster. DRS enabled this time around, so everybody will get that rear wing open if they're within a second of the car in front, and that applies to pretty much the whole pack at this point in these early stages of the race. You got Rock here attacking on the back of Nino Blanco into Brooklyn's, a little bit too far away. Islandberg very, very close in contention with these as well here. Rexy Boy still keeping Stiffmeister on his toes. Watching the leaders as they come out of Woodcote. As you can see here, Truckee there moving ahead of Nathan up into P6, into Cops, but Nathan's got a good exit there around the outside of Cops and has managed to keep his momentum there. And they're still side by side, but in the end, Truckee does complete that move into Maggots. And Truckee there up into P6, gets that move completed there. As we watch in the background, you've got Magpie Toon trying to pull up onto the back of these, as Magpie Toon has now got a run here on Nathan. Now looking to the outside of Chapel, down the hanger straight we go, and Magpie Toon's got that moved up into 7th place, but Nathan's going to try and keep himself there around the outside as he's got back. Oh no, and Nathan and Magpie Toon have come together, and Magpie Toon, surely he's out of the race. How on earth has that car not been totaled there? He's going to continue on his way somehow. Must have been hard on those brakes because the front wing came flying off, but the car somehow is still in the race. But Mr. Johan in the pits. Did Magpie Toon come off badly in that at all? I think he might have. Sorry, I mean Nathan should have said. It was Magpie Toon who went into the wall. Nathan seems to have got away scot-free with that one, the other driver who was involved in that collision. But Magpie Toon into the pits to get his front wing fixed. Stiffmeister also coming in, as well as Mr. Johan. But wow, incredible stuff. And the virtual safety car that came out is already subsided there. There's a V10 Ultra trying to get the move done on Nathan as well. Nathan holding his ground on the inside, going through Aintree. Oh, it's a bit of a slide there from him through the loop and out to Wellington straight we go once again. And V10 does manage to get that move completed. But now Nathan on the attack here, looking to the outside, coming towards Brooklands. He's going to try and go around the outside, but V10 Ultra has got an inside line covered off for the time being, as Brinky watching this unfold in the background there with Oliver for company as well. Oliver driving a really strong race so far, running in the points, but he's just lost out to Arlenberg there, who's just nipped up the inside of him on the exit of Luffield, side by side here through Woodcote, and who's going to come out on top in this one. Oliver there has got the straight line speed and manages to give him a good stead there, and as they come into Cop's corner and holds on to P10 for the time being then. Vista out the front still has the lead ahead. Tezza with Justify there running in third place, dropping off at the top of two a little bit at this point. Street Boy there ahead of Matty Pitt with Truckee, and then a second of a gap here to V10 and Nathan, who were battling a moment ago, but now Nathan more focusing on his mirrors rather than what's in front of him here, because he's got Brinky attacking to the outside. Brinky breezes past him there, the straight line speed. Brinky's car seems to be far superior to what Nathan's got in his, and Brinky there up into P8, but Brinky's going to try and, Nathan's going to try and come back at him into his fail, but he's way too far back, and that's not going to happen there for him. As Street Boy here all over the back of Justify with Matty Pitt right with them as well. These three battling over third place at this point. Street Boy here getting closer and closer and closer towards Abbey, but too far back at the moment. Matty Pitt and Truckee just waiting in the wings in this battle. There's four cars battling over third place at the moment, as now Matty Pitt looking to the outside of Street Boy here coming into Village, but that's not going to happen just there. Through Aintree we go and into the loop, and Matty Pitt's going to try and keep himself close, but Street Boy's got DRS on Justify, which is going to help him out considerably here. They've all got DRS on each other. The DRS train proving in full effect here as Street Boy looks to the outside there on Justify into Brooklands. Can't get it done. It's going to try and go for a cutback here through Luffield. Oh, it's Justify a little bit wide there. Street Boy might be able to capitalise, but he gets a little bit of a tardy exit there, and that's not going to really pay him much dividends at all there. Truckee in the background with V10 Ultra now looming large in the mirrors of these guys as well here. So with all these battling, it's allowing a train to form behind them. Justify currently has got a load of cars queuing up behind him right now. Street Boy, Matty Pitt, Truckee, V10 Ultra here, as V10 now looking at the back. Oh no, V10 Ultra poked his nose where it probably shouldn't have gone, and he spins Truckee around as well. Those two dropping down the order here. So V10 Ultra, I was riding on board with him as that happened. It looked to me like he shouldn't really have been going for that one. He was just a little bit speculative there, and V10 and Truckee down to 11th and 12th places respectively and all of that. I have to say that was impatient from V10 Ultra. He didn't need to be doing that, as Justify there still keeping ahead of Street Boy. Into Vale we go. Look to the outside there is Street Boy, but he can't get it done, and Matty Pitt is closer and closer to these two. The more they battered it out at the moment as they come through club corner once again. Truckee is coming to the pits here at the end of lap 6, so end of lap 5 should I say. So Truckee, no surprise there, obviously he had his collision a few moments ago with V10. V10 staying out, I think, by the looks of it at least. But chaotic first few laps to this British Grand Prix here tonight at Purple Sector Formula 1 League. Those of you watching this obviously on Sunday night, this was filmed on Tuesday night, but we stream it all as part of Motive Racing's Super Sunday. We stream this on the undercard. Also on the undercard is Motive Racing's Formula 1 League coming up after this as well. We've also got Purple Sector's Thursday action as well, because they run 2 days a week on Thursdays and on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We see Street Boy managing to get a move done there on Justify into Luffield, but that's really nicely done there from Street Boy. But Justify is not giving up yet. He's got a bit of a run here down the old pit straight, but he's too far back going into Cops, and that's not going to happen from there. As we can watch in the background, you've got Matty Pitt and Brinky with them. Oliver and Nathan dropping off of them a little bit. Always Ruck there sweeping around the outside of Arlenberg with a lovely manoeuvre there through Cops corner, and Ruck up into P9 with that one. Excellent stuff there from him. But this battle for third place still very hot indeed. Tezza also keeping Vista under pressure out the front. Only a half a second separating the top two at the moment. And obviously Tezza will know that he want to keep himself close and just keep himself within striking distance. Oh, it's the Ferrari there losing 2 places there. Matty Pitt up into third place. What a move there from Matty Pitt. Capitalising on the other two, focusing on each other there is Justify now having to defend from Street Boy coming into Vale. Street Boy's going to try and go on the outside, but that's not going to happen from there. But Matty Pitt there, absolutely capitalising on everything that was going on in front of him, and up into third place he goes. Excellent stuff there from him, as we can see Ruck here moving ahead of Nathan up into P8 into Abbey, and he's done that one position there as Ruck up into that position. You can see there Brinky all over the back of Street Boy in a battle for P5 at this point, and Matty Pitt now running in third place with Justify still in the back of him, but Street Boy was attacking on Justify before. It was for a podium place. He's now for 4th place, and now you can see Matty Pitt, that Williams, just starting to maybe disappear off into the distance here. If these two don't get their act together, then they could be falling out of that battle for the podiums. Brinky was having a little look on Street Boy going into Brooklands there, but he just wasn't really in a position to make anything happen. Arlenberg on the back of Nathan. You've got V10 Ultra and a big gap back to Nelly Reggie running in P12. Nobody else is really battling out there at this point, but the two leaders are certainly engaged in a bit of a pressure situation right now. Vista and Tezza Muzza, 0.6 of a second between them as they're coming through Chapel Curve once again. Tezza with the slipstream and the DRS will get him that little bit closer, but he's not close enough. And it seems like Vista's got some formidable straight line speed, because look at Tezza, he's got the rear wing wide open, the DRS, and it's not really doing anything at all. So Tezza's best hope in this race is surely going to be the strategy, because he's not going to overtake Vista. Vista seems like he's got that car set up for low downforce. Tezza's obviously got the grip in the low speed sections and anything with corners basically, but down those straights he hasn't got a hope in hell of getting anywhere near Vista at this point. As we see Matty pit into the pits, Nathan and V10 Ultra as well. So Tezza's still keeping Vista on his toes at the moment. But for how much longer is Vista going to be able to withstand this pressure and not make a mistake? Obviously, we've said before, we've alluded to the fact that Tezza doesn't really have any straight line speed. So in theory, Vista could just keep squeaky clean, make sure he gets good exits out of all the DRS zones, and just park it in the way. But easier said than done when you've got a driver like Tezza Muzza behind you. Matty Pitt coming out of the pits. So is Nathan, so is V10 Ultra. Those three all coming in here. So V10... putting the medium tyres on, Matty on the mediums as well, Nathan switching on to the hard tyres for the final stint. But here is Tezza, closer and closer. He's closer than he's been at any point in this race. And I said before, the straight line speed of the Red Bull seems to be taking it away from Tezza every lap. But maybe this time being that little bit closer is going to just allow him to put that bit more pressure on the back of Vista. Here we go. Again, Vista seems to have the pace in the straights, and Tezza can't seem to get close enough. Doesn't seem to be able to put him under any real threat. Saying that though, Vista has got only 8% of his battery left. Tezza's got 92% of his, so actually that could be making the difference here. That could be a huge deciding factor in the perceived straight line speed advantage that I've been sort of quoting Vista as having this whole race. As we can see, Justify Street Boy Oliver and Arlenberg all into the pits here at the end of lap 8. Justify was obviously running up there at the start of the race, but quickly dropped off at the back of these two, Vista and Tezza, who are currently having their own battle out the front at this point. Tezza seems to be struggling for traction as well, not only his straight line speed, but also his grip coming out of the slower corners just doesn't really seem to be there. But as I said before, he's got so much ERS, he can just deploy it in the second half of the race. He can deploy it in the last 3 laps if he wants. He can just go around like a rocket ship. For the last few laps, it's really up to him. Doesn't matter where he does it or how he does it. V10 Ultra down the inside of Nathan into Village, and he makes that move stick as well there. V10 Ultra, so up into P13 he goes. Riding on board here with Truckee, who's right behind these two. As these three come out onto the Wellington straight, actually they're technically 4 of them because they're not too far behind Nurburgring. And you know what? There's 5 of them because Oliver actually leads that pack. You can see them all coming into shot there. And look at that, Street Boy is actually not far away from them as well here. So this could quickly become a 6-car battle here, which is currently led by Oliver, saying that Justify only is 2 seconds ahead of Oliver as well. Vista and Tezza. Oh, Tezza's coming in. So there we go. Tezza coming in first of the 2 leaders. So he's going to put the medium tyres on, and that will take him to the end, I'm sure. And Vista continues on his way for the time being. Now he read it all over the back of Nino Blanco here in the battle for P5 as well. Brinky also coming in as well as Tezza. So Tezza coming out of the pits, back and on his way again. Rexy Boy, they're going through Abbey into Village. Sorry, Farm. Into Village now. Got Brinky coming out of the pits here. Just ahead of Oliver, so Oliver almost in the points. He's going to try and go on the outside here. He's got much warmer tyres than Brinky. He might be able to take advantage here. Brinky won't get that great attraction coming out onto the Wellington straight. This could be a big opportunity for Oliver here. He can keep himself close here. He'll have the slipstream and the DRS. Here we go, let's jump on, let's watch this right aboard here with him. It looked like he didn't really get a good enough exit there coming out onto the Wellington straight, and it's going to be Brinky for the time being holding on to P10, and he's got through the worst of it now. His tyres will be starting to warm up as we speak, so that could have been Oliver's chance to take a point here gone in this race. So far anyway, but there are still a few drivers who've got a pit up ahead, so we'll have to see how it all pans out. It's still a long way to go in this one. The likes of Rucker, Nino Blanco, Mr. Johan, I'm not sure. I think he could probably go to the end. Rexy Boy certainly has to pit again, so he will pick up some points, I think, as things stand anyway. We've got Vista and Ruck both into the pits here at the end of lap 10. So Vista will have that 1 lap fresher tyres than what Tezza has, but Tezza, I think, is going to get the undercut here. I reckon he's going to have been getting the lap down over this 1 lap. I was going to say the lap's down, but obviously it's only been 1 lap since he pitted. But Vista's been in the box already. He's already towards the end of the pit lane now. Tezza coming out of club onto the start finish straight here. Where's Vista? Vista's just coming on the pit exit now. Tezza Muzza into Abbey, and he's done it. Tezza's done it comfortably. It's not even close. Tezza Muzza, they're going through farm. Vista there, just coming into the corner now. So Tezza's coming out 2 seconds clear of Vista. That just goes to show how much the fresh medium tyres have on those worn soft tyres there. Tezza has absolutely smashed it on that outlap, and he is now 3 seconds clear of Vista, and this race is now in the bag for him pretty much. He needs to clear Nino Blanco quickly. As long as Nino Blanco doesn't hold him up too much, Tezza Muzza should be able to absolutely romp home to this win. Barring any penalties, let's hope he keeps himself clean from now until the end. As Vista there moving ahead of Brinky up into Oliver moving ahead of Brinky up into 7th place, and Brinky now coming under pressure here from Vitan Ultra on the inside of him as well there. So Vitan Ultra moving ahead of Brinky up into P8, but Brinky's going to try and keep himself there. But Vitan Ultra though completing that move. Islandberg now looking to the inside of Brinky. Through a cut we go. Street Boy in the meantime has moved ahead of Truckee up into P13 as well. Wallenberg down the inside of Brinky into Cop's corner. They're still side by side. They're coming down towards Maggots as Brinky, they're keeping it around the outside. And Wallenberg's not giving up in this one easily, but he's going to have to concede that one for the time being as Brinky even gets that one done up into P9. So Tezza Muzza's made the move on Nino Blanco up into the lead of the race. And obviously Nino Blanco needs to come into the pits before the end of the race. And he's coming in this time around, so no surprise there for that. As Justify is putting pressure here on the back of Mr. Johan here for P5. Obviously Mr. Johan on worn out hard tyres compared to Justify on fresh medium, so Justify should be able to get this move done relatively easily, you would have thought. Justify will be in a net P4. Well, it will be P4 in a second actually. Well, if he can get ahead of Mr. Johan, that is. Nino Blanco has made his pit stop and is now off and away. So Oliver now running in P6, driving a fantastic race here tonight. Currently on course for 8 championship points. As we can see, Mr. Johan's now lost out to Justify, so Justify is up to 4th place. Now Justify can try and hunt down Matty Pitt for the final podium place. That'll be an exciting battle to watch in the last few laps here. The gap only 2 seconds between those two as things stand. Here's Oliver on the back of Mr. Johan here, coming down towards Maggots. He's looking to the inside there. Is Oliver, but he's just a little bit too far away. Oh, gives Mr. Johan a bit of a tap there. Oh, as he shoves him in the rear there as well, in the left rear wheel. But as you were at the moment, and Mr. Johan holding resolutely here ahead of Oliver, but Oliver now with DRS. Mr. Johan, though, has got DRS on Justify. He was just within a second at the detection point there. Very, very tight, but he was just about was within that gap. Oliver still can't make this move, but battling for P5 at the moment. What a drive it's been from Oliver here tonight. I'm sure he'll be chuffed to bits as things stand. He's got V10 right behind him as well, so V10 would love to get himself in a top 5 spot before the end. Obviously, he's in the championship battle with Tezza and Vista. As Rock there moving ahead of Islandberg, but Islandberg keeping it around the outside. They're still side by side, and Stiffmeister's just crashed out of the race. Stiffmeister on lap 13 has binned it, as we can see there. Oliver and V10 side by side here. V10 ought to try and go around the outside of Oliver as they're coming through the loop here. He's going to keep himself all the way around the outside there, and he gets that one done. Does V10 Ultra up into P6. Both of these two will be looking to get ahead of Mr. Johan in a second as well. But V10 Ultra now looking to attack on the back of the Haas driver here, who's on those worn out hard tyres. Surely he's going to be a sitting duck for these medium runners on the back of him right now, surely. On board with V10 Ultra as they come down the old pit straight towards Cop's corner. He's way too far back to make a move at the moment. Keeping an eye on the gap at the front. It's come down a little bit between Tezza and Vista. It was 3 seconds when they came out of the pits, and it's now just under 2 seconds, and Vista has managed to harvest some ERS here. Tezza used all of his ERS to get ahead through the pit window, and obviously now has found himself with nothing left but 2 seconds of a gap. So how's this all going to work out when we get to the end of the race? Just over 5 laps left to go. Vista with 1 lap fresher tyres. It's only going to make a tenth or two in terms of difference, probably about a tenth of a second a lap at this point is 1 lap of tyre difference. So it's not really much of a difference, but tenths of a second by margins, they can make the difference in Formula One, and we all know that. Oliver here is just ahead of Mr. Johan. Mr. Johan has lost out to him there, so Oliver up into P6. But V10 Ultra clearing off up the road there in P5 is there. As Barinki trying to make the move on Mr. Johan. Down towards Village we go. A little bit too far away still. Arlen Berg there trying to make the move on Ruck, and he's made it stick there actually. Although Ruck's look at the inside here, coming in towards Saintry. Arlen Berg there still around the outside of Ruck. Swoops around him there out of the loop onto the Wellington straight. Pardon me, that was a hiccup / burp. And Arlen Berg getting close to the back of Brinky into Brooklyn's, but too far away at the moment, and isn't going to be able to make that move there. As Nathan there has made the move on Truckee as well up into P11, but Truckee on the inside here for Luffield. And Nathan there managing to get a good exit there out of Luffield and holds on to P11 for the time being. Brinky looking to the outside of Mr. Johan into Maggots, but again just a little bit too far away at this point. Nino Blanco has picked up a penalty here. Nino Blanco's got 3 seconds worth. As we see Brinky here now looking to the outside of Mr. Johan. Breezes past him down the hanger straight up into P7. Job done there for him without any major issues. Mr. Johan, as we said before, on those hard tyres, he's going to be a sitting duck here. And Rock making his way through as well. Rock there moving ahead of Island Berg, should I say. Mr. Johan's still ahead of these two at this point. So Mr. Johan, although saying that, Rock's managed to get him on the exit of Club Corner. Rock there up into P8. So I just predicted the future there. I basically called it just before it happened. So Rock there into 8th. Now Island Berg will be looking to try and pull the same move that all the others have made. And Mr. Johan dropping backwards on those hard tyres at this point. I feel that was ultra predictable, that one. As Vista is on the back of Tezza Muzza. Wow, where's this come from? And also Justify on the outside. Oh no, Matty Pitt and Justify come together there, coming through Brooklands. And this is now going to drop them into the back of the clutches of V10 Ultra and Oliver. As Ruck there has now made the move on Mr. Johan again. It looked like they swapped positions briefly there. But Matty Pitt and Justify coming together there. Justify was trying to make the move around the outside of Brooklands. Matty Pitt there was keeping himself on the inside, was not giving up in that one. And they came together. There was slight contact there, which kind of sent them both into a half spin. V10 Ultra now waiting in the wings, looking to try and punish Matty Pitt for that little mistake there, which happened between those two, as Vista has now made the move for the lead of the race, and Vista hits the front here on lap 15 with just over 3 laps left to go. This race is absolutely flying wide open at the moment, as Matty Pitt is now losing out to V10 Ultra. V10 Ultra up into 4th place. Can V10 now close on to the back of Justify and take a podium place here in the closing stages of this race? That would be absolutely sensational. Oliver also now knocking on the door of P5 as well. There's Ruck there. Oh, Ruck has had a spin coming through Stowe Corner. Ruck there down to P10, dropping behind Truckee now down to 11th. So Ruck is kind of falling apart for him. It's unraveling a little bit in the closing stage of this race. But Tezza Muzza has made a mistake, and Vista is now 6 seconds clear. So what has happened to Tezza? I'm not quite sure. But Vista has now got this race pretty much in the bag here. V10 now all over the back of Justify in this battle for 3rd place. What a dramatic final few laps here at Silverstone, here for the Purple Sector Formula One League. Fantastic race tonight, as V10 Ultra with the slipstream and the DRS here on Justify into Brooklands again, too far away at this point. Vista really close on Justify at the moment as they go through Copse Corner. You can see here he's going to be in with a shout coming down the hanger straight. He's going to have the DRS, which will keep him in good stead. Oliver here is also putting pressure on Matty Pitt. Could Oliver get a top 5 here tonight? That would be absolutely fantastic here. I'd love to see that. What improvements this lad has made. As I say, just out to Brinky up into P6 there as it came out of Chapel Curve onto the hanger straight. V10 Ultra though moving up into 3rd place into Stowe Corner. Job done there for him. Arlen Berg here has moved ahead of Mr. Johan. Oliver has now got back ahead of Brinky on the exit of Stowe Corner. Nathan now moving ahead of Ruck as well up into 11th place. It's all happening here in the closing stages of this race. Justify has now moved ahead of V10 Ultra as well up into 3rd place. Those two swapping and changing positions left, right and centre. Matty Pitt waiting in the wings as well as Oliver. As Justify there trying to keep it on the inside, but Sweet V10 swoops around the outside of Abbey. Through farm we go in towards Village again. Matty Pitt now to the outside of Justify. He's going to try and keep himself there for the inside there for Aintree. He's going to be there right there on the inside, Matty Pitt, as we've seen them just knocking each other a little bit there as they come through on the exit of the loop now. And Justify keeping it around the outside with the momentum there on the outside has got back ahead of Matty Pitt. Matty Pitt now lost out to Oliver. Oliver now looking to try and make 2 moves. Oh, and that was a late move from Justify there. That was a bit dodgy there. Oh, and Oliver there loses it as a result and spins round, and Oliver dropping way down the order, and that is just really a kick in the teeth there. That is a shame. That is such a desperate shame there for Oliver. What a race he's driven tonight. He's going to be absolutely gutted with that, but he can have his head held high after tonight because he really gave it absolutely everything. That's really unfortunate there. And that all came from Justify's late move. I'm telling you now, that spin there was from that late move, which was completely ridiculous in my opinion. But Matty Pitt has got Eilenberg to his outside here, coming through Chapel Curve, and Matty Pitt there managing to just about stay ahead of him there. Eilenberg looking to the outside into down the hanger straight into Stowe Corner. Matty Pitt holding on with the DRS. Also, obviously he's got the DRS on Brinky, which is going to help him defend. So Matty Pitt still running in P6. Eilenberg here looking to the outside, down towards Vale once again. Too far back there. Fantastic racing in the closing laps here at Purple Sector. Really clean for the most part, save for a questionable move from Justify going into Brooklands, which I'm hoping the stewards are going to deal with that because that was crazy. But nonetheless, Eilenberg's lost it there on the final lap of the race, going through in towards Village, and he's completely stacked it there down to P9. Oliver might fancy another point here right at the end of the race. Vista in the meantime had the lead handed to him because Tezza seemed to bottle it a couple of laps ago. Whatever happened to him, not quite sure. But Vista here is going to bring it around for this final half a lap. He's got a commanding lead over Tezza, running in 2nd place. V10 Ultra, after an up and down race, is going to finish in 3rd place. I'm sure he'll be pretty chuffed with that, the way things have gone here tonight. Justify there 4th ahead of Brinky, a couple of seconds behind him. You've got Mr. Johan ahead of Matty Pitt with Truckee right on him. You got Eilenberg there. Oh, he's lost it there. Eilenberg, he's around a little bit, but gets it going again. But here comes Vista into the Vale chicane for the final time here at Silverstone tonight, and it's going to be another win here this season, driving in the Red Bull, which is obviously a quick car on this F1 game, but nonetheless he's managed to make it work. Vista over the line to take the checkered flag, and he wins the British Grand Prix here at Purple Sector for season 10. It's going to be Tezza Muzza out of the final corner here to take 2nd place here tonight, ahead of V10 Ultra in the other Alpha Tauri. A good night for those two guys. 2nd and 3rd places. Got to keep an eye on the standings. I'll be able to tell you in the next round what the situation is with that. But Justify over in 4th ahead of Brinky P5 with Mr. Johan 6th. Chucky over to finish in 7th place in the end, ahead of Matty Pitt in 8th. Oliver's going to come around the final corner, 9th place for him. It could have been so much more, but nonetheless, good result. 2 points in the bag for him. Rock 10th, Nino Banco 11th, Street Boy 12th. Nathan's going to come around to finish in 13th place here in the end, not too far ahead of Eilenberg, who's going to take P14. Rexy Boy coming into Vale for the final time, and he's going to pick up P15 here tonight as he comes through on the exit of Club Corner. And Rexy Boy there, P15. Now Regit will be the last driver to finish. He's a long way behind here in P16. It'll be a little while before we see him cross the line. Stiffmeister, Magpie 2 and T and JB Lego all retired from the race. Quite a long way out, to be fair, all of them. Magpie 2 we saw having a dramatic crash down the hangar straight with Nathan, which I'm sure will be a contentious issue after the race. Didn't really see. Well, was riding on board one moment, next second I jumped trackside and saw Magpie 2 in the wall. So whatever the case, yeah, we'll have to see. But Nelly Regit here coming into Vale for the final time, and not at the race here tonight, has he, at all? Oh, as he spins it there, does some lovely donuts for us on the stream. So hats off to you, Nelly Regit, for putting on a bit of a display here. Excellent stuff. Oh, that's just beautiful. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that brilliant? Well done to him. Nelly Regit coming over the line here to take P16, and that is that then, guys, for tonight's action here at the Purple Sector. Obviously, you're watching this on Sunday night. as part of the Super Sunday here on the Motive Racing YouTube channel. But big ups to the purple sector guys, because their action on track is absolutely superb. I'm really enjoying the action that they're putting on this season. Really a real pleasure to watch. And yeah, stick around because we'll have the Thursday race live in a minute or two's time. We'll just be rolling it from one to the other. No real breaks in between. It'll just be literally just tonight's going to just be a recap of the week, and then obviously after that we've got Motives F1 League after the Purple Sector's Thursday race, which is we're going to be recording on Friday. Haven't done it yet, but that'll be showing up after this, and then after those two have run, we're going to be running the GT3 Championship live. Here we are then, we're racing at Spa tonight at Purple Sector, and it's Vista here leading into La Source for the first time. You've got Tesmaz looking around the outside, but he's being dive bombed there by Brinky. Brinky can't make the move done at the moment though, as we see them all coming through La Source for the first time. You've got Magpie Toon ahead of Ruck and Islandberg. Islandberg losing a load of places here. Mr. Johan's now got ahead of Mr. Islandberg as well, up into P6. So Islandberg, they're dropping down the order like a stone at the moment, but as they come through Radion now, you've got Street Boy here also attacking on Rexy Boy just up ahead of him. Down the Camel Straight we come. V10 Ultra's got ahead of Street Boy now, up into P11. Street Boy didn't get a good exit there out of Radion, as Magpie 2 then moving ahead of Tezza up into third place, and looking like there's no other position changes just at the moment, but an exciting start to this race with Vista still leading by nearly a second already ahead of Brinky. You've got Magpie 2 and Tezza, Mysterio completing the top five, followed by Rock, Arlenberg, Massey Pitt ahead of Oliver, followed by Rexy Boy, V10 Ultra. As Arlenberg there moving back ahead of Ruck, and now he's looking up the inside of Mr. Johan as well there. So Arlenberg gaining 2 places there in the space of basically a corner, as Matty Pitt now looking to try and attack on Mr. Johan down towards Pumon, but he's been passed around the outside there by Ruck. Ruck, wow, came out of nowhere there. Ruck up into 7th place there, managed to sneak around Matty Pitt. Matty Pitt was more thinking about what about doing Mr. Johan, and didn't even see Ruck coming around the outside there until it was already too late. But V10 Ultra in the meantime has moved ahead of Rexy Boy up into P9 as well. And we got Stiffy here, who's just behind this pedal as well. So he's running in 11th place, looking to try and gain some places here in this one. But Mr. Johan is currently attacking on Islandberg here in this battle for 5th place. You got Tezamaza well within a second on the back of Magpie Toon at this point. Vista still leading the race by over a second right now ahead of Brinky with Magpie Toon. There's Tezza well within a second of him at this point. And Mr. Johan still trying to put the pressure here on the back of Islandberg at this point. But as Vista comes over the line here to complete the first lap of the race here, Brenke there in second. There's Magpie 2 and Tesla Mother ahead of Islandberg and Ruck, followed by, Mr. Johan Ruck, Matty Pitt, Eaton Ultra, Rexy Boy, Stiffy, Nino Blanco, Street Boy, JB Lego and Oliver running at the back of the pack at the moment. But Vista starting to stretch his legs out the front. Has got over a second and a half of a gap here over Brinky at this point, and looking very good for his money so far. As Matty Pitts moved ahead of Ruck up into P7, and V10 Ultra's following him through as well, as V10 Ultra around the outside of Ruck has done that one into Lacombe. So V10 Ultra now up into 8th place, now can try and pull up onto the back of Matty Pitt as well here. Tezza hounding and hassling Magpie 2 for 3rd place, but can't find a way through. No DRS available this time around, obviously. DRS will be open on lap 3 of the race, so a little way to go before that will get that extra incentive. But Tezza here really putting this pressure here on the back of the Williams driver. Magpie 2 is going to have to really get his elbows out here, even without DRS. I think that Tezza's a bit of a threat to him at the moment. Both of these two running on the medium tyres, obviously the top two running on the soft, so these two will have that strategic ace up their sleeve later on in the race. Street Boys got ahead of Nino Blanco for 12th place, noticing that one on the timing screen there. The two Ferraris have swapped positions, but we're currently watching Tezza here, trying to up the ante here on the back of Magpie 2. Mr. Johan here, right with Islandberg still, with Matty Pitt, Beaton Ultra and Rock following in close contention at the moment. Oh, as we can see, potentially a move, but not quite there from Rock. Was looking at the inside there, going to the bus stop, but a little bit too far away on V10 to make anything happen just there. Vista in the meantime has got the fast up of the race there on that last time around. And Vista still leading as he comes through Radion. Brinky there, a couple of seconds behind. Magpie 2 has still got Tezza all over him, but this time Tezza will have DRS. Surely this is going to be an easy move here. Oh, as he just swerves into the side of him there. I think there's a bit of not the most kindest of gestures there from Tezza, but he's through up into third place there ahead of Magpie Toon. Mr. Johan still ahead of Islandberg as we see, oh, Vista's lost it. Vista, the race leader. Oh my goodness, that is unbelievable. He had a comfortable lead before. He was 2 seconds ahead of Brinky. Brinky's now given the race lead on a plate here. What a shock there to see Vista losing it coming out of Lacombe as V10 Ultra's here trying to go around the outside of Matty Pitt here as also Islandberg's moved ahead of Mr. Johan up into fourth place, but Matty Pitt even has been passed on the inside there by V10 Ultra. So V10 Ultra's going to go around the outside of Matty Pitt, should I say. And I think he's managed to complete that move here as V10 Ultra. Yes, he has. V10 Ultra up into P6 as they go into campus here. So lovely stuff there from V10 Ultra. Now he can try and focus on the podium places up ahead. He's a little way to go just at the moment, but he's on those soft tyres, so he needs to make these work while he can because they're not going to last forever here. And he's currently hassling the back of Mr. Johan here for P5 at this particular moment in time. Brinky, in the meantime, is trying to weather the storm here from Tez and Muzzer. So you can see these two coming through Blanchimont at the moment. Oliver's got a 3-second time penalty here for multiple warnings. Tez is still hounding and hassling the back of Brinky here. As Matty here trying to go around the outside of V10 Ultra into the bus stop. He's got the inside for the second part. V10 Ultra though getting a lovely exit there out into the start finish straight, and it's just ahead of Matty Pitt as they come over the line here. Matty trying to go around the outside here into La Source, and he's managed to get a lovely traction there out of the corner. But again, V10 Ultra seems to have a better car in a straight line. Better acceleration there. Matty Pitt got a much better exit than V10, but as soon as they got out of the initial acceleration phase, it was all V10 Ultra. But saying that, Matty Pitt's now got the run down the Camel Straight with DRS as well. This should be job done here easy, and Rock's also followed him through as well. So Rock up into P7 can now try and attack on Matty Pitt, but they both got DRS, which is helping Matty Pitt. And for the time being, it's Matty Pitt and Rock now ahead of V10 Ultra in 6th and 7th places here. V10 Ultra on those soft tyres, not having the night so far, it must be said. Brinky still at the front, has still got a narrow gap to Tezza at this point. Here we go then. Brinky and Tezza still running in first and second places here. We go to campus we come once again. Magpie Toon's just clinging to the coattails of these two at the moment. Is that because Brinky's holding Tezza up a little bit? We can see there Rock is still going side by side with Matty Pitt. Rock can't manage to stay ahead there. Matty Pitt's still got V10 Ultra all over the back of him here as they come through Stavelo. But these three are having a cracking battle here for P6. V10 Ultra will be frustrated with the first couple of laps of the race because obviously he's one of the quicker drivers here in purple sector is V10. Arriving in the AlphaTauri this season, it's difficult for him and for his teammate Tezza. As Rock there losing out to both of them there. Made a little mistake there, did Rock. Dropped a couple of places here. Now at the rear of this trio. As he's now looking to the outside into the bus stop. Goes a little bit deep there into the corner. V10 Ultra really hounding and hassling Matty Pitt as they come out onto the start finish straight once again here. Tez and Muzz are still all over the back of Brinky as well for the battle for the lead. Magpie Toon still right there with these two. Riding on board here with Magpie Toon. He's getting closer and closer to the back of Tezza, and Tezza's got very vulnerable to him indeed there. Magpie Toon is going to easily make that move. They both had DRS on the leader up ahead, but Magpie Toon up into second place. Mr. Johan up the inside of Islandberg as well, up into fourth place. That's job done there for him. As V10 Ultra also getting ahead of Matty Pitt up into sixth place as well. Street Boy moving ahead of Rexy Boy into Lacombe. So 4 overtakes there in the space of about 10 seconds. Vista trying to come back from his spin that we saw through that corner actually a couple of laps ago, was leading the race comfortably in the first couple of laps by about 2-3 seconds, but since then things took a massive turn for the worse. Currently running in 12th place at the moment, a long way behind the leader Brinky, who's got Magpie Toon and Tezza for company still out the front, but Magpie Toon managed to get the move done down the Camel Straight on Tezza earlier this lap, and he's currently got track position here. We have got rain falling now, and the rain seems to be intensifying a little bit. It started falling noticeably about a minute ago, but you can see that it's now starting to ingrain itself on the track surface a little bit, and potentially now the drivers are going to be thinking about coming into the pits to make a stop. Let's keep our eye close on this because this could be the time here. Magpie Toon getting closer to the back of Brinky. Still too far away into the bus stop at the moment. Who's going to come in? It's going to be Brinky and Magpie Toon both into the pits. Tezza continues on his way for the time being. Mr. Johan also in. V10 staying out, rolling the dice. I think the risk is to stay out here. I think the sensible option is probably to pit at this point. But those who stay out might be able to get the dry tyres to just work for one more lap and maybe gain an advantage. Who knows? But it is a real risk here. Tezza's still out there right now, the race leader, coming through old Rouge and Radion. Seemed pretty good through there, to be fair. Didn't seem like he was on, too much on tenterhooks. V10 Ultra, second place, a few seconds behind. The track's going to be getting worse and worse every second. As we've got Stiffy here all over the back of V10 Ultra as well. So Brinky was your race leader. He is the highest runner now on intermediate tyres. He's a second ahead of Magpie Toon, who was right with him when they came in. But let's keep an eye on the gap here between Tezza and Brinky. It's 17 seconds right now. Is that gap going up or is it coming down here? Looks to me like it is coming down a little bit at this point. So Tezza will want to get himself in this time around. Will be wanting to minimise the amount of time that he's going to lose here. He will lose some time. But it's a case of damage limitation here for Tezza Muzza, as Brinky's gained a second just in the last 20 seconds we've been watching him. So he's really struggling. Oh, as he gets a massive slide there going through Stavilo. Just needs to get this around the lap. He's probably just praying that he can get the car back to the pits in one piece, get some appropriate tyres on and go again here. Brinky's moved up into fourth place ahead of Rexy Boy within 16 seconds now of the race leader Tezza. Magpie Toon's moved to Rexy Boy as well, up into fifth place. Mr. Johan's got a 3-second time penalty. He now joins V10 Ultra and Oliver as the drivers who have picked up penalties in this race. Oh, and Tezza's had a spin going through the bus stop, and that is going to lose him massive amounts of time here to Brinky. The gap's going to be under 10 seconds now. Tezza finally into the pits. Brinky coming into the bus stop, having gone to the intermediate tyres way earlier. And he is going to reap the benefits here. He's going to come around and take a decisive lead here in this race. But Magpie Toon certainly following him around at the moment, not letting him off the hook. Now, where is V10 going to come out in all this? Where is, well, more to the point, I suppose. Where is, let's see where Tezza comes out. So, Tezza out of the pits, coming out just ahead of Street Boy. That's how much time he's lost. I mean, Street Boy was nowhere in the first stint. Vista suddenly only 3 seconds behind Tezza Muzza at this point, the race leader from the first couple of laps. And Magpie Toon's made the move for the lead here into Lacombe. So that's Magpie Toon up into P1, and he must have made the move down the Camel Straight there. Must have used his straight line speed, which we've said before. His straight line speed seems really superior to his opponents here tonight. And Magpie Toon leading the race here on lap 7. Still less than halfway through this race at this point, but he's clearly enjoying these wet conditions so far. Has he set his car up with an eye towards these conditions? We'll have to keep our eye on this, but Magpie Toon, your race leader here. Oliver's just left the session, obviously he retired already. So we're down to 13 drivers here in this race. Eilenberg all over the back of Mr. Johan in the battle for third place still. Tezza within 10 seconds of the race lead. Can he get himself on the podium here? Only 5 seconds off for a podium place here. Magpie Toon starting to pull away a little bit here from Brinky. Seemingly really enjoying these conditions. Has a lot of comfort out there here tonight. And is reveling in these conditions here. See Stiffy there as so. Mr. Johan's extended the gap to Eilenberg a little bit, over a second now separating those two as they're coming down the Camel straight. Magpie 2 well in advance here of Brinky right now, 1.6 seconds separating the top two. Tezza's bringing the gap down to everybody else up front. Seemingly has a control of these wet conditions, but everything kind of went wrong for him because he stayed out a lap too long. He should have come in when the likes of Magpie 2 and Brinky came in, but rolled the dice, thought, why not give it a go, seeing as he was behind them on the road. Wanted track position, but he is closing that gap rapidly at this point. So Tez is going to be one to watch in the closing laps here. That's for sure. Vista also got to keep an eye on him because he led the first couple of laps of this race, was on pole position. And if it wasn't for his spin on lap 3, he would probably still be up there now. But he's got pace here as Vista, currently matching the leaders. He could be on for a podium here tonight, 100%. Only 6 seconds behind Mr. Johan, who has got a penalty as well. Eilenberg currently 5 seconds ahead of him in 4th place. He hasn't got a penalty, but that gap only 5 seconds. Brinky's just reeled in Magpie 2 a little bit over the course of this lap. It was 1.6 seconds at the start of the lap. It's now under a second. So as Magpie 2 made a bit of a mistake here, Brinky might be spelling blood here. Will be able to just start to up the tempo and pile the pressure on the back of the Williams driver a little bit here as they come into the bus stop once again. Oh, here comes Beaton Ultra down the Kemmel straight, looking to the inside of Street Boy. Into Lacombe we go. Is he down the inside? He's going to try and make it happen there. Street Boy keeping it around the outside. Oh, they're so close. And Beaton Ultra runs wide there onto the runoff area. Street Boy continues on his way for the time being without any dramas. Close racing there between those two. Exciting stuff. Street Boy have maintained 7th place for the time being. Here we are then, riding on board with Tezamaza once again, all over the back of Eilenberg here as they come through in towards Blanchimont. But Eilenberg putting away a little bit through this section of the track, getting close to the back of Mr. Johan now as well, into the bus stop, too far away there though. But really fancying a move at this point. Magpie 2's gap to Brinky under us, or was briefly under a second there, but Mr. Johan and Eilenberg just starting to bring the gap down to these top two as well. Tezamaza closing in, so it's a Constantina effect at the moment. Magpie 2 seems to be losing time to all the drivers behind him. Vista now within 10 seconds of the lead as well. What we need now is a safety car as Vitan Ultra is moving ahead of Street Boy. Street Boy under braking, going a little bit wide, and Vitan getting that position back on the exit of the source. I don't think we really need a safety car actually, because that would ruin the excitement, that would ruin the meritocracy that we've got here tonight. I think it's exciting enough as it is, to be honest. But Eilenberg then getting on the outside of Mr. Johan into Lacombe. That's job done there for Eilenberg, up into 3rd place. Nina Blanco's moved ahead of Rexy Boy up into P10 into the points. Tezamaza's got ahead of Mr. Johan as well, up into 4th place now. He was already in 4th, wasn't he? I'm sure I just saw a position change indicator next to Tez's name. Maybe I imagined that, I don't know. But nonetheless, he's all over the back of Eilenberg. Maybe he briefly got ahead of Eilenberg and then dropped behind him again. Rexy Boy has got ahead of Nino Blanco up into the points. Back again as they're still side by side here on the corner after Lacombe. Who's going to come out on top in this one? As we can see, Nino Blanco down the inside. Rexy Boy can't go for a cutback as Nino Blanco parks his car on the apex there. Matty Pitt here trying to get a cut back here down the hill towards Pumar. But Rexy Boy's got that one covered off for now. Oh, as Rexy Boy goes wide, Matty Pitt seizes on that. No hesitations there from Matty Pitt up into P11. Great racing from these guys here. 11th place in this race. Magpie Toons extended the gap a little bit to Brinky over the course of that lap. It's now nearly 2 seconds again. So Magpie Toon had a strong run last time around. Brinky there running in second place has got Islandberg and Tezza battling here down towards La Source as Tezza's going to try and go around the outside here. He's going to keep himself there and gets a lovely exit there coming out of La Source as well. That's job done there for Tezza Muzza. He slots into third place. Now he can try and chase down the leaders if he can get a good exit out of Rouge and Radion. It will take him away from Islandberg, and that will give him an opportunity here to cement his position there as we see Stiffy moving ahead of Street Boy up into P8 as well on the exit of La Source. See, Street Boy's got a 3-second time penalty there for track limits. Oh, Matty Pitt and Nino Blanco battling over P10 still. What a fight there between those two. Nino Blanco managing to squeeze back ahead here. Matty Pitt's still right with him though. He's not giving up in this one easily. Oh, he goes really late on the brakes and gives Nino a big old shove there going into Brussels. And Nino there just getting a bit of oversteer there, trying to control the extra speed that he was taking into the corner, which he wouldn't have wanted. He holds position for the time being, not by much though. In the meantime, Tezza has done bits in the last couple of laps. He's now on the back of Brinky. He's only a second and a half off for the race lead at this point, but he needs to negotiate Brinky before he can think about taking the win here. Magpie Toon's got 80% of his ERS battery left. Tezza's got 40%. Brinky's got 38 of his. So Magpie Toon, you've got to say, in the best position in terms of ERS, but Tezza, we know, is the most proven winner out of these three, and he's all over Brinky as they're coming down towards La Source. Looking to the inside, trying to force him into a mistake. Brinky goes really wide there. It's kind of worked there for Tezza, but he doesn't really have the space to get the traction coming out of La Source. He still manages to get a really good exit though, and he's just ahead there coming down towards Eau Rouge. Brinky has to back out of that because Tezza's got that move done. Up into second place, goes a little bit wide though there, go through Eau Rouge. That would have compromised his exit through Radion. Brinky though not close enough, and Tezza manages to make it work there up into second place. Now he can try and focus on Magpie Toon, the race leader. What a drive it has been from Tezza Muzza, having looked down and out after the pit stops. He's now running right on the back of the race leader here, Magpie Toon, with a penalty as well. So Tezza knows he doesn't have to make this move on the track, but did he love to, I'm sure. Oh, it's Magpie Toon. Massive slide there coming out of Lacombe. Down ahead into Brussels. Tezza Muzza got to be smelling blood at this point, surely. Magpie Toon a little bit wide. Tezza trying to poke his nose into that gap. Still not really forming there for him. Matty Pitt in the meantime has got a 3-second time penalty there for multiple track limit warnings. Here comes Tezza Muzza getting a little bit onto the grass there. Nowhere to go. Magpie Toon managing to restrict his space sufficiently. Matty Pitt has moved back ahead of Nino Blanco up into P10 as they're going through Lacombe at the moment. These two having a great fight still in that particular one. But Tezza here is still putting the pressure here on the back of Magpie Toon. Still can't find a way through though. Still can't make the move stick. But what a battle it's been from these two in the last lap or so, and hopefully Tezza can give us a bit of a show here. We've got Vista here moving ahead of Vista moving ahead of Vista moving ahead of Mr. Johan up into P5. Vista's driven really well as well, to be fair. I mean, him being knocked back was his own fault because he obviously spun on lap 3 after leading the first couple of laps, but since then he's just really got his head down and has been pumping in the laps and has brought himself back into contention here for, well, top 5 at the moment. It's a podium on the cards. Maybe that might be a little bit beyond him because you've got Magpie Toon, Tezza and Brinky about 4 seconds up the road at this point, 4 or 5 seconds up the road from Vista. He might be able to nab Islandberg for P4 though, potentially, if he really gets his skates on. Here we go then, top two. Magpie 2 and Tezza coming down the Camel Straight once again. Is Tezza close enough this time around? Doesn't look like it. Just at the moment, Magpie 2 in straight line speed, keeping him in really good stead at the moment. Mr. Johan's got a 3-second time penalty there, so that means that everybody from 6th down to 13th has got a time penalty. The drivers from 2nd to 5th haven't, and the race leader has, so crazy that. But Magpie 2 is still your race leader at the moment, but for how much longer is he going to be able to weather this storm here from Tezza? He's weathered the conditions, but weathering the weather and Tezza Muzza are two very different things. And I know which one I'd rather be having to contend with. Tezza creeping closer and closer and closer, but still not quite within range to someone. But you can bet that he will be giving himself every opportunity here to outfox the race leader. But Magpie Toon's still got an ace up his sleeve. He's still got 80% of his ERS battery left. Tezza here having looks everywhere, trying to force an opening here as they come through on the exit of Stavilo into the final sector once again. We've got just over 2 laps left to go here at Spa for the Belgian Grand Prix here at Purple Sector Formula 1 League. But a realistic car performance league here, season 10, coming through Blanchimont once again here. And Tezza is still keeping him on his toes at the moment, as Magpie 2's been leading the race ever since the pit stop phases, really, ever since they came in for the inters when the rain came down. Managed to get the move done on Brinky up into the lead, and since then has never looked back. Brinky's dropped back slowly. Obviously, Tezza got ahead of him. He's now got Eilenberg pressuring him for 3rd place. These two have also got Vista hunting them down as well, so Vista could fancy a podium here with 2 laps left to go. He's only 2 seconds behind Brinky, and these two are going to battle, which will only give him a little bit more of an opportunity to close that gap to them. Here we come then, Magpie 2 and Tezza up the hill through Radion once again. And what is going to happen here? On board with Tezza, here we come, down the Camel Straight. And again, just too far away, isn't really getting enough of a slipstream here. The straight line speed from Magpie 2. Again, he's saving grace at this point. Was that a genius tactical setup of a car there from Magpie 2, or is this just an unlucky coincidence here? The fact that he's able to keep Tezza at bay due to that superior straight line speed, as Tezza getting a bit of a slide there going through Brussels. Thought he was going to just give Magpie 2 a little bit of a tap in the rear there to unsettle him a little bit. As Mr. Johan here poking nose up the inside of V10. They're side by side here coming through No Name. And V10 Ultra still clinging onto that one. Mr. Johan, though, looking to try and get a cut back here down towards Pouon. That's not going to happen there. V10 Ultra is going to cling onto that one for the time being. In the meantime, the battle for the lead continuing on here. Magpie 2 and Tezza into Campus once again. Still nothing doing here from Tezza. Eilenberg still hassling the back of Brinky. Vista's now right with these two in the battle for 3rd place. So this is now a 3-car fight here for the podium places. Magpie 2 and Tezza absolutely nose to tail at the moment as they're coming through into the final sector of the lap here. About to complete the penultimate lap here. About to start the final lap in a moment. And let's jump on board with Tezza Muzza here as they're coming towards Blanchimont. He wants to try and take it flat if he can, or as close to flat as he possibly can in the wet. Goes a bit wide there on the exit of the corner. Still too far back to send it into the bus stop. He had a little look. He had to think about it. He's not going to give it a go just at the moment. He's going to wait until this final lap of the race. It's now or never here for Tezza Muzza. He's got to make it happen now. As you see, Brinky here still running in 3rd place. Has got the gap at, well, under a second with Eilenberg. Vista now all over the back of Eilenberg here for 4th place as they come down towards La Source for the final time here at Racing Speeds. And Eilenberg a little bit wide there on the exit of the source, but Vista no room to work with there. Street Boy has moved ahead of Stiffy. That's because Stiffy's into the pits here on the final lap of the race, and Stiffy's retired to the pits. In the meantime, Tezza closer than he's ever been here on the back of Magpie 2. Here we go then, on board with Tezza Muzza as they come down the Camel Straight. He's again, Magpie 2's pulling away despite Tezza being in the slipstream. There's nothing he can do there. And Magpie 2 holding on to this race lead. Brinky, Eilenberg, Vista still hassling the back of Eilenberg at this point. But Eilenberg here maybe looking at a podium place. Are either of these two going to overtake the car in front of them at this point? Probably not. Looks like they might be holding position here until the checkered flag, with well under a lap left to go here in this race. Magpie 2 still just ahead of Tezza as they come out of No Name once again. Tezza's going to give it everything he's got here. Into Pouon we go for the final time. He needs Magpie 2 to make a mistake, but Magpie 2's been pretty solid over the last few laps. Hasn't really been giving Tezza anything to go on. Tezza's been trying to just throw these little feints up the inside, trying to make Magpie 2 think twice about what he's doing, but it hasn't been to any avail so far. Vista still on the back of Islandberg. Islandberg has been on Brinky now for the last few laps, and nothing seems to have really rattled Brinky in that Mercedes. He's been pretty much faultless here in the last few laps as well. Magpie Toon and Tezza coming into that final sector here. Magpie Toon has got his penalty, let's not forget, so Tezza will get the win anyway. But I tell you what, you've got to take your hat off there to Magpie Toon, because the way that he's managed to withstand all the pressure here from Tezza, hasn't managed to falter despite Tezza really throwing the kitchen sink at him. Coming into the bus stop for the final time. Here we come. Out onto the start finish straight. It's going to be Magpie Toon to take the win on the track as Islandberg's done Brinky at the end. But Magpie Toon is going to take the win on the track. It's going to be Tezza Mazzado, your race winner at Spa tonight here at Purple Sector. Magpie Toon second. Islandberg over in third on the track. Loses a load of places due to the penalties. Brinky comes over to take the podium place ahead of Vista in fourth, followed by Vita Ultra in fifth. Mr. Johan sixth, ahead of Islandberg in seventh. Street Boy coming into the bus stop. It's going to be eighth place here for him tonight. A bit of a anonymous race here from Street Boy, but he comes over the line to finish this one in P8. And he's not too far ahead of Matty Pitt, who's just coming out of the bus stop now. It's going to be Matty Pitt around to take ninth place here in this one. And he's just ahead of Nina Blanco, who's going to come over to take the final point here. And he's a couple of seconds ahead of Rexy Boy, who will finish in P11. And a long way back to Nino Blanco there, loses out to Rexy Boy on the penalties there. So Rexy Boy takes the final point. Nino Blanco 11th, and JB Lego coming into the final sector here. It's going to be a 12th place here for JB Lego. Not the race he'd have wanted, I'm sure, but nonetheless, practice makes perfect. So I'm sure he'll be taking the experience on the chin, and we're back for the next one. But into the final few corners here. JB Lego into the bus stop for the final time. There we go. So through out onto the start finish straight for the final time. JB Lego P12 in the end. But Tezza Muzzy, your race winner, due to Magpie Toon's penalty. Great battle there. Great drive from Magpie Toon. Unlucky due to the penalty, but obviously the white lines do 1 2 1 2 audio check. One two one two. Welcome back, everybody. We are here tonight for the GT3 Championship here, Motive Racing on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. Obviously, only PlayStation 5 being represented at the moment, but we are here tonight at the Nurburgring for one of the endurance rounds, one of two endurance rounds this season. And the last endurance race we'll have this season. Obviously, the first endurance race was a couple of weeks ago at Barcelona for round 2. We got one more 90-minute race here tonight, and then the rest of them are going to be. We have 2 sprint rounds, which will be next week, and also round 7, I believe, will be a sprint round as well. And then we'll have the conventional 1-hour format with a mandatory pit stop for rounds 6 and 8 of the season to round things off. So the sprint rounds will be at Imola next week, and then a couple of weeks after that at Laguna Seca, the Red Bull. And the Red Bull. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. I don't know what happened there. Nothing actually happened there. I don't know why the audio cut out. But anyway, some of you may notice we're a little bit down on numbers here this week. We've only got 19 drivers currently in a session, hoping that'll be 20 once we actually get going for qualifying, or rather the race, because that was qualifying. It's just gone down to 18, so somebody's now jumped out again. Oh, as we just had Good A jump back in, or was it Good A? I'm not quite sure. But nonetheless, I'm hoping we potentially might be joined by Reece Park here tonight as well. But he might not be able to get in time. I know he was a bit tight for time, and obviously I offered him a full-time seat in the week, but he wasn't sure until today that he'd be having that full-time seat. So he's sort of made other plans, and then I think at the last minute has decided to try and get here on time, but we'll see on that whether or not he joins anyway. But at the moment, we've got 19 drivers here out on track for this round 4 of the GT3 Championship here at Motive. 90-minute endurance, the last one of this season. Oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? We'll see whether or not he joins anyway. But at the moment we've got 19 drivers here out on track for this round 4 of the GT3 Championship here at Motive. 90-minute endurance, the last one of this season. Oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? I think the mic is just randomly cutting out for no apparent reason. I think the mic is just randomly cutting out. I'm just going to have to get on with it. It's there most of the time, and it's just cutting out randomly for no apparent reason. I actually don't know why. These headphones are basically brand new, so I really don't know. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know what to say. What can you say? The races that we had earlier on, those F1 races, they were pre-recorded. So obviously I did those the other night. For some reason, this mic, this headset, only seems to have problems on live streams. It's fine on recordings, but on live streams it cuts out like no tomorrow. It's really strange. Anyway, here we go then. About to go for the formation lap here for this Nurburgring GP round 4 race. Somebody's just disappeared at the back of the grid there. Literally just vanished. And it's just reappeared. Yeah, God knows. But yeah, that was a bit peculiar. But it's going to be interesting tonight. We saw obviously Hurans and Vermeulen very, very close in the qualifying session here. These two have dominated the GT3 here at Motive now for many seasons. Obviously, neither of them raced full time last season. They both raced every other week because they had some other endurance series going on, which meant they were only able to race every 2 weeks. But they did actually take the win. At least one of them took the win in every race that they took part in. So I think it was Hurans took 3 of the wins and Vermeulen took 1 win. Memorably at Donington last season, it was a last lap overtake into turn 1 as Hurans was coming out of the pits and Vermeulen made that move into turn 1. For those of you who don't know, Vermeulen is Jazzman and Hurans is Tynus. And these two, you know, they're people who've watched Motive over the seasons. They know who these two are. They are, without a doubt, the most successful drivers here in this league, or in these leagues on ACC. And they pretty much just locked out the championships between them over the last few seasons. Obviously, we saw Matthew Duffin take the championship last season due to a really consistent season. He's not been here for a couple of races this season. This is the second one he's missed. He was at Barcelona a couple of weeks ago, and he also raced last week at Spa, but unfortunately he isn't able to race here tonight as he was racing in an endurance race yesterday. He's not feeling too good after that, which is understandable. Looks like Glenn didn't ready up at the start, so he's going to be starting from the pit lane. So 18 drivers will take the rolling start, 19 ready to take the start of the race. Had a lot of people pull out last minute tonight. I don't know whether it's the endurance aspect or what it is, but seemingly there's a little bit of dissent towards the something. I don't know what it is, but there's clearly, because I don't think it's a coincidence that about 9 people couldn't race in one night, but oh well. Here we go then. Anyway, coming into the chicane, we are moments away from the start of round 4 for the GT3 Championship here at Motive Racing on Assetto Corsa Competizione here on the console. So it's going to be Hurans there on the left-hand side of the screen on the inside, who's going to lead us over the line, but it'll be Jared Vermeulen on the outside looking to try and get on with it as quickly as he possibly can. what can Overtaker or Paul Vidler do from the second row as well. DiMartino and Clouden putting in very, very strong qualifying performances. Good to see those two up there. Visser in P7. Oh, this happens every single time, every single week. This same thing happens every single week. Just as I'm about to flick to somebody at the start of the race, I get flicked to the chase cam. Anyway, Huron's leads into turn one. Vermeulen on the outside there, and he's been passed on the inside there by Overtaker. So Overtaker up into second place, and looking like Vermeulen there is losing a bit of ground here as they come through the Mercedes arena. Vidler's now got around him as well, has he? Or no, has he? Because actually, no, Vidler's lost out to a few drivers in front of him here. So DiMartino there's moving ahead of somebody. So DiMartino there has gained a few positions. Obviously, we don't know what the situation is because the timing board in ACC takes 3 to 5 working days to update. So we'll find out in due course. But it's Hurans from Overtaker with Vermeulen running in third place. And then you've got, I think, DiMartino and Vidler's dropped back a couple of places here at the start as well. Clouden, I think, is in there. Has got ahead of, he's behind Vidler. But yeah, currently... undoubtedly, it's Hurans who leads the race at the moment, ahead of Overtaker in second place. There's Vermeulen in third, followed by DiMartino. Vidler in P5, ahead of Clouden, followed by Visser, followed by Scudero Paul. Remy Fernie there in ninth, followed by Gary Leach. You've got John Gooday. Oh, and Ian Gray's been spun around. Ian Gray's been taken out there by Jamie Baker. What was going on there going into Dunlop? That was very strange. It wasn't Dunlop, actually. It's the corner before Dunlop, I think. Oh, no, it was actually Dunlop. But, yeah, Ian Gray there getting absolutely... dive bomb there. I don't know whether Jamie Baker got contact from behind or whether he lost it by himself, but whatever the case, I'm sure that Ian Gray's going to be pretty peeved with that one. But they're both way down the order now. Ian Gray, it says he's in P12. We've got to wait and see whether that's the case or whether the game is still yet to update us on the situation there. Glenn currently running in P18. We lost the driver here in the very early stages of the race, so somebody's already retired from the race. So shame to see that somebody's bailed out on the very first lap of the race, but nonetheless, it is still Hurans out front, leading the race by just under 8 tenths of a second at the moment as they come over the line down towards turn one here to start lap 2 of the race. There's Overtaker with Vermeulen all over the back of him. Overtaker for the time being keeping up with the leaders here. Vidler there is in between DiMartino and Clouden at the moment. You've got Visser falling off the back of them a little bit there as Gary Leach is attacking on the back of Remy Fernie, and actually he's got ahead of Gooday there. In fact, who's the Lamborghini in the middle? That is Scudero Paul here, so he's lost out to Fernie and Leach. So Scudero Paul has lost 2 places at the beginning of this lap and is now down to P10. Obviously the timing board takes its time here, as I said before, but Gooday here is all over the back of Scudero Paul now in his pedal for what's P10, and Scudero Paul going backwards at this point here. Gooday looking down the inside in towards turn 4, but just a little bit too far away there, can't make that one happen. Or turn 5, turn 4, turn 5, it's hard to tell because that turn 2 is such a long corner. I mean, it could be technically derived as 2 turns, I'm not quite sure, but nonetheless, Hurans and Overtaker just over a second separating those two right now. Vermeulen is looking to try and get on with this on the back of Overtaker. He doesn't want to lose too much ground here to Hurans. I remember last time he raced at the Nurburgring here at Motive, it was Hurans who took the win, and it was Vermeulen who was running in second place, a fair way behind, about 10 seconds behind him, and actually crashed on the final lap of the race, and I believe up to third on the night. So obviously he'll be wanting to try and bounce back from what wasn't the greatest of nights here last time out at this circuit. But he's looking to the outside here on Overtaker into the chicane. He looks to try and go around him there, but Overtaker parks his car on the inside. These two, they're losing time to Hurans all the time whilst they try and battle it out. And Overtaker slowing both of them down as Vidler there spun out, and Vidler there onto the grass there on the exit of the chicane, and he's going to be dropping way down here into at least the middle of the pack as he very sportsmanlike there keeps those brakes on and doesn't rejoin the track in front of the traffic there. So obviously being very aware of what's going on, and you've got to give him credit for that in such a as I say that, but yeah, he's now way behind, and he's come out behind Raki as well in 14th place here, so he's slotted in behind Baker as well, behind Ian Gray, ahead of Glenn. So yeah, Paul Vidler down to 17th place. It's going to be a bit of a comeback drive for him tonight. I suppose his loss is our gain because we can watch an exciting comeback drive. I'm sure that he'll be at least looking to try and get himself into the top 10 before the end of the race. But Huron's out in front. Overtaker still weathering this storm here from Vermeulen at the moment, as these two battered out over second place, and these two come 3 seconds ahead of Di Martino, running in fourth place at this point. But Vermeulen here really attacking on Overtaker right now. He doesn't want to waste any more time than he needs to here in this battle for second place as they go down the hill into Dunlop once again. But where is Jared Vermeulen going to get this move done? The McLaren pretty handy in a straight line. The Ferrari, though, no slouch. So you'd imagine that Vermeulen would fancy his chances coming down the start-finish straight. But is he going to try and use his cornering grip to maybe catch Overtaker out a little bit here? Maybe if he's got confidence on those brakes, he might send one, go for a bit of a lunge. I suppose if you're going to go for a lunge anywhere around this track, it would be turn one, though. But here they come, nonetheless, into the valley once again. It's Overtaker and Vermeulen. Second and third places here. Up the hill they come towards the chicane. Now, where is Vermeulen going to be looking to try and force this initiative here? Into the chicane they go once again. But all the time, they're losing time to Hurans, who is nearly 4 seconds up the road already here. Let's see, Vermeulen pretty close here, coming out of the final corner. Over the line they come to complete up 3 of the race. And Vermeulen closer and closer and closer in that slipstream. Is he going to look to make a move here into turn one? Overtaker defends the inside line. Vermeulen knows he's going to have to go around the long way here. Overtaker parks his car on the inside. Vermeulen trying to keep himself there around the outside. He'll have the inside for turn two, but Overtaker's got a good grip there. Gets a beautiful exit out of turn one and holds on to that one. Vermeulen still can't make this move, and all the time he's losing time to Tinus as he sends one on the inside there of Overtaker. Oh, it's tight there, tight radius he had to take there to Vermeulen, keeping it around the outside here for turn four, and he's going to hold himself all the way down to turn five now. Vermeulen with the inside line, he's going to complete that move, and that is job done there for Jared Vermeulen up into second place. He made that last a few corners there to Overtaker, but he couldn't hold on any longer. And Jared Vermeulen can now try and chase after his old rival Hurans, who is 4 seconds up the road there in the lead of the race. Exciting stuff there between Overtaker and Vermeulen. Really great battle between those two. As we can see, Raki still battling with Burton at the moment for 11th and 12th places. Gary Burton here looking to really get on with this one here on the back of Raki at this point. Noticing Scooter Paul's dropped back a little bit here down to 13th place. He was running in P8 on the opening lap, but things have unfortunately turned a little bit for him, but still a long way to go. I'm sure he can get himself back into the race. Still plenty of time for him to do exactly that. Remy Fernie on the back of Visser here as they come out of the Schumacher S's, and Fernie there just keeping him on his toes at the moment. Vermeulen now starting to pull away from Overtaker. You can see that gap now best part of a second between those two at this point. Paul Vidler in the meantime is up into P15, so he's picked off Ian Gray and Remco Cohn here. Now he's looking to try and force a move here on Jamie Baker, and then Scooter Paul, who's just ahead of him. And Paul Vidler here, very close on the back of Baker here. Cougar Valley we come up the hill towards the chicane, and Baker there waves him through, says that's not really my fight there. And Paul Vidler up into P14 without any dramas, can now focus on the Lamborghini of Scooter Paul as they come through the final corner. Is he going to get this move here down the start-finish straight? Let's watch here very closely as Paul Vidler right on the back of Scooter Paul here. Over the line we come to complete that forward race as Paul Vidler here now alongside Scooter Paul. Down the inside he goes into turn one, and that is going to be surely job done there for Paul Vidler. And yes, it is indeed. He goes a little bit wide though, does he? And he's going to have the inside now for turn two. That's job done. Paul Vidler up into P13. John Gooday in the meantime has got Raki and Burton on the back of him. So these two have reeled in John Gooday in the last lap or so. And Remy Furley's got ahead of Gary Leach as well up into 7th place. So obviously we saw him on the back of him a couple of laps ago. He's made that move somewhere. Not sure where he's done that, but he's now running in P7 in this race. Tell you what though, Leach is not letting Fernie off the hook here. He's still right on the back of him at this point. Still not allowing him to ride off. Burton on the back of him. So these two... Audio's fine at the moment. Good to see. As Leach was all over the grass coming out of the chicane, but still keeping fairly very much within his sights at this point. So looks like these two pretty evenly matched at this point. As over the line they come, 0.3 of a second separating these two over the line. And Fernie, I think, just a little bit too far ahead of Leach for Leach to send one into turn one. Defends the inside nonetheless, but doesn't really need to at this point. Good, still sat in P10 at this point, just ahead of Raki and Burton. Oh, there's a bit of lag going on there. Wow, that was a huge bit of lag there from John Gooday as he got out of shape there. I wonder if the lag was down to the fact that he was losing the car. But, has he got has his tyre gone? That looks to me, I mean, I've never seen this on this game, but it looks like a puncture the way that it was almost like the car was trying to pivot on one side. That's really strange there. I don't know if that was lag or whether that was damage of some sort, but nonetheless, Raki and Burton into clean air, and Gooday is now obviously going to have to watch out because Vidler's going to be hot in his mirrors in a second as well. '18 started the race, and we've still got 18 drivers currently in the session at the moment for this 90-minute endurance race tonight. Motive Racing for the GT3 Championship. This obviously Season 8 on the consoles. Fernie has just put a little bit more of a breathing space here between himself and Leach at this point, as these two continue to battle over P7 and 8. In fact, no, sorry, Leach has got ahead of him. Leach has made a move, actually, so I don't know where, but somewhere in the middle sector, those two have swapped positions. So Gary Leach now in 7th place here in this race. And I don't know where Fernie dropped it, but the gap over a second. So clearly some kind of error that's creeped into play there for him. Gooday's had a moment here because he's dropped off at the back of Vidler now. Vidler now running on right in the rear of Burton. Gooday's gone straight on over the final chicane, and now Scuderia Paul and Baker moving up into 14th and 15th, or 13th and 14th now. Gooday into the pits here at end of lap 6, trying to save his blushes. Has he retired? Because I can't click on him. Won't let me select him. I'm not sure if he's left the session. That might update in a second. I'm not quite sure. Hopefully not. Hopefully he's still going. Long way to go. Points on offer. There's no point in bailing out at this point. No, he has rage quit. Alrighty then. Well, he started with 19. We've got 17 left. Gap in the meantime between Hurans and Vermeulen just under 5 seconds. So despite Vermeulen being stuck behind Overtaker for the first 3 laps, the gap was about 4 seconds then. It has been very steadily increasing since Vermeulen got into clean air. So even though he's now got a clear track in front of him, he still hasn't been able to match the pace of the leader, at least not consistently. Oh, he lagged out, says PM Motorsport. That would make some sense actually, because he was lagging beforehand. I thought because he came into the pits. Oh, did he come into the pits because of his lag? That would make sense. Either way, I'm not gonna. There's no penalty for retiring anyway, yet. So it's not gonna be an issue. But gap between Paul and Baker currently just under a second at the moment as these two battle out over 13th and 14th places. Gap between Hurans and Vermeulen currently still just under 5 seconds, but the gap's gone up ever so slightly over the course of the first sector. Not sure what strategies these two are on at the moment. Don't know if Hurans is short tanking it, maybe planning on doing a tyre change. Potentially Vermeulen isn't. Could even be the other way around. Could be that they're both on the same strategy. We just don't know. It's part of the excitement of these endurance races. We just don't know. Saying that though, I think that a tyre change would be massively beneficial in a race of this length. So I can't really understand why they wouldn't be. In the meantime, Paul Vidler sizing up his next victim here in the shape of Raki and knocking on the door of a top 10 spot. So I was saying earlier on how he'd be targeting a top 10 for sure. Well, it looks like he might be about to achieve that target within about 5 laps of his mistake. We saw obviously at the end of, I think it was lap 2, it might have even been lap 1. Paul Vidler made a mistake coming out of the final chicane, got onto the grass on the outside before the final corner, and basically had to let the entire field through. In the meantime, I think Hurans might have made a mistake here because the gap's come down by a second between himself and Vermeulen. The gap now under 4 seconds. It was nearly 5 seconds a moment. So Vermeulen here really getting the laps down. And this could now be a battle on for the win. Hopefully it is. Hopefully we get an exciting fight for the race win here tonight at the Nurburgring. Also got Peter Nilsson here saying, soon I can join the league. I've got a PS5 now. That's brilliant, Nilsson. I remember you, mate. I remember your PlayStation name. And I could always remember the first 4 digits, QTPK, but I could never remember the rest. It's all a blur. But I remember you very well, mate. Be great to have you back out on track soon. Rhett Nilsson used to race with us many seasons ago now. Raced with us for a long time as well. He was with us for a while before, obviously, we migrated to the PS5 permanently. I think he's actually raced with us since we moved to the PS5 as well. But yeah, if you want to join Nilsson, obviously you're in a server, I think, still. Just go to SimGrid or go to the, what's it called, the GT3 section. If not, I'll send you a DM. Because actually, you know what? I don't think I ever made the entries public for this one because I wanted it to be invite only. I wanted it to be people who I trust. But yeah, for sure, I'll send that over to you very shortly, mate. I'll do that right now. As Ian Gray here into the pits. Actually, Nilsson, if you go to announcements on the Discord, it should be there. Scroll up about 3 or 4 posts, and there should be an announcement. I'm pretty sure I did. PM Motorsport says, anyone who drives the V12 Aston are heroes. What a car. Currently being represented by just the one man here this season. PM, that is Glenn. I tell you what, that is a beautiful livery as well. He's really done a fantastic job with that. Is that I don't know if anybody can tell me this, is that the Game Tech livery? Because I noticed that Raki's, actually saying that Raki's not in that livery now, but I'm pretty sure Raki used to run that livery back in the day. I don't know, maybe I'm tripping, but I'm not sure. But Ian Gray came in at the end of lap 9 anyway. Thanks, Andy, says Peter Nilsson. Oh, you're welcome, mate. It's good to see you watching again. We have actually got a couple of full-time spots because we've had a few drivers drop out of the season. We had Roshnov drop out, and I think it's most likely that we're going to have a couple more dropping out. I don't know, because I think there's a few people who have not turned up without letting us know beforehand, and some people I think are very close to maxing out their 3 dropouts per season now. So obviously once they do that, that's them gone. Even if they let us know 3 dropouts and you're out, even if you let us know, that's the rule. If you don't turn up without telling us, you have to have a very good reason. Otherwise you're gone. But yeah, nonetheless, Vidler now ahead of Raki up into P10, and it's already gapped him by over a second at this point. Looks like a can of Pepsi, says PN. Yeah, it does a little bit. Yeah. Reminds me more of the cherry Pepsi. I don't know. I mean, saying that, Pepsi's red and blue anyway, so I don't really know. Yeah, it's the cherry Pepsi. It's definitely the cherry. All the Pepsi Max. No, Pepsi Max Cherry. That's the one. Looks like that. Exactly like that. In the meantime, Baker. Oh, Jamie Baker, he pulled up onto the back of Remco Cone. I was just switching to him because I thought that could be a battle on. And Jamie Baker's put it in the wall. He's had a big moment there. He's going to, I think he's lost out to Ian Gray now. Ian Gray's up into P15, having pitted as well. So Jamie Baker there, well out of position. And he's probably got to come into the pits and get that fixed, I'm pretty sure. Which could really interfere with his strategy here tonight. Oh, that's going to be frustrating there for him. That's going to be a real kick in the teeth. In the meantime, the fastest man out on track by some way at the moment is Jared Vermeulen. He's done a purple lap so far. He is without a doubt the quickest driver on the circuit. And look at this, he's only 2.3 seconds behind Hurans at this point. So I reckon Hurans is going to be looking in his mirrors very, very shortly. And I said before, Vermeulen's got a bit of a score to settle around this track because the last time he raced here, he had a disastrous race. Ended up crashing out on the final lap of the race. Whilst running in second place, Hurans had got the win in the bag by that point. So he's definitely going to be out there with a point to prove here tonight. Baker in the pits here. No surprise there because we saw his incident. We saw him get the damage on that last lap. But gap between the top two is just over 2 seconds at the moment. But on the whole, Vermeulen is definitely carving that gap down at this point. But we don't know what the strategies are at the moment. And that could play a huge factor by the time we get to the end of the race. So plenty to play for at this point. Still a long, long way to go. Remco Cone in the meantime on the back of Scooter Report. Oh, he puts it on the gravel there, does Remco Cone. That would have shoved off a bit of speed there as he's trying to close up onto the back of Scooter Report here. Baker's still in the pits getting that damage fixed. Gap out the front between Hurans and Vermeulen. Looks like just under 2 seconds. So Vermeulen again took 3/10 out of Hurans through that first sector. Jared Vermeulen really is flying at the moment. Remy Fernie has got Simon Blair and Paul Vidler closing up onto him, but Paul Vidler has been gaining on both of them lap after lap after lap. He's flying at the moment, is Paul Vidler. I reckon he's probably the third fastest driver out on track after Hurans and Vermeulen at this point. Overtaker just hasn't got the pace of the top two here tonight. But he's still driving in a very, very handy third place at this point. Who knows where Vidler could get to at the end of this race. I reckon a top 5 could be on the cards here if he continues the way he's going. Oh no, Raki's disconnected. What's happened to Raki? He was running in... Oh, he wasn't doing a bad job, was he? He wasn't running that far behind. No, it's just you, mate. Server's fine. Oh no, that is gutting there for Raki. A disconnection here on lap 12, as we can see Paul Vidler there squeezing through past Simon Blair. What a move there from Paul Vidler. Had to have the faith that Simon Blair was going to keep that clean. In fact, no, it wasn't Simon Blair. In fact, that was one of the lap cars, I think. Must have been, was it? I don't even know at this point. Who the hell was that? Oh my goodness. Well, nonetheless, it was Remy Fernie. So, sorry, I do apologise, Remy Fernie. But yeah, Simon Blair getting ahead of Remy Fernie and Paul Vidler following him through. But now Paul Vidler looking to try and make it 2 moves in the space of a few corners now. I don't know, Raki. It's one of those things. I don't know. I've got an Ethernet cable and I've disconnected maybe twice in about 4 years since having my Ethernet cable on the PS5. It can happen. It can happen. It's very rare, but it can happen. Gary Burton in the pits here at the end of lap 12. That's really gutting for Raki because he was in some good points there. and there was still a long way to go in the race. I mean, if you want, mate, you can still join the server. Oh, you're going to join the spectator? Okay, yeah, if you want to join the commentary box, you're welcome to as well. Yeah, let me just DM you on Discord, hold on. I hate it when you type somebody's name in on Discord when you're on messages and you type in like the first part of their name and it shows their name, so you go to click on it, and then as you're clicking on it, suddenly somebody else's name will appear exactly where you're about to press on their name, and it's like, just why? Just why? I just don't understand why that happens. It's just so stupid. I typed in Raki, and Raki's name was at the top, so my thumb was like committed, like my thumb was directly going towards it, and then suddenly it's like, as I'm about to press it, someone else's name appears in exactly that spot. It's just mad. I don't even know, man. It's just crazy. Let me get you in the party chat, mate. Let's have a little chinwag. Oh, Vermeulen. Has he got ahead of Hurans? He has. Oh, Jared Vermeulen's taken the lead here on lap 14 of the race. His lucky number, Jared Vermeulen, obviously is race number 14 now since he's raced here. But he's now in the lead. Hurans running in second place. Oh, wow. There we go. So that move was being shaped up. Obviously, Vermeulen's had to pace the last few laps, and he's gone and steamed past him. Let's get Raki in the party chat. There you go, mate. JR with a cheeky little lipstick emoji. Hello, mate. Welcome along. Hello, Raki.
Hey, good evening.
How's it going? You alright?
Could have been better, but
Oh, man. I don't know what to say. I mean, Ethernet cables, they're good, but like they're not bulletproof. Unfortunately.
yeah, unfortunately, after the start I got bunted from behind in turn 1, so I had quite a comeback and unfortunately lost connection. So let's see what the other guys are doing.
Let me just check your audio, mate. Make sure that you're audible. They're not bulletproof.
Yeah, unfortunately, after the start I got bunted from behind in turn 1, so I had quite a comeback and unfortunately lost connection. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, I can hear you good.
Just check your audio, mate. Make sure that
You're a little bit quiet. I don't know whether you're being heard through my headphones. One thing, double check your party settings and your broadcast settings. Just make sure everything's enabled, basically. I mean, it's not too bad. You can hear you reasonably well, but it's not crystal clear.
Yeah, let me check.
But whilst we were doing that, Vermeulen now does lead the race by 0.7 of a second. He's out front. He's taken the lead from Hurans. He's hunted him down these last few laps, and now suddenly it's an advantage. Jazzman here in this race as they come into turn 1 once again. Remy Fernie in the pits here at the end of lap 15. So he's coming for an early pit stop. I can't imagine he's going to be changing tyres or putting fuel in, because coming in at this early stage, we're near the halfway point. There's very little benefit to doing that. But he's now off the Jackson away. Clouden, though, really close on the back of DiMartino here as they're coming over the line to complete lap 15 of the race. As here we come. And is he going to have a chance? Is he going to have a look into turn one? Always Clouden is forced to go to the outside. DeMartino covering that inside line off on the exit of turn one. He looks like if DeMartino gets a good exit there, and Clouden nowhere to go in that one. Leach is all over the back of Vista here as well, down towards turn one again. Leach here looking up the inside, a little bit too far away, has to think better at that one. Vista did defend the inside though, just aware of the fact that he's putting the pressure on him. And Paul Vidler now all over Simon Blair as well. 3/10 between them as over the line. It's been a battle for a few laps now.
How do you check?
Let's let me check it now. Only ways to play the stream back.
That one, Vista did defend the inside though, just aware of the fact that he's putting the pressure on him. And Paul Vidler now all over Simon Blair as well. 3/10 between them as over the line. It's been a battle for a few laps now.
How do you check?
You can hear you.
Let me check.
It's very faint. I mean, you can hear. Just double check. I'll tell you the things it could be. So, one of them is party settings. Were you just in that? So, yeah, go to the party chat, then click on the three dots, the settings.
Yeah.
Not party settings. You want, what is it? Voice chat settings. That's it. And then share your voice. Always allow. Mine's actually set to don't allow, so if somebody else was streaming, you wouldn't be able to hear me. Oh, as we see, Paul Vidler dives up the inside of Simon Blair. Simon Blair closed the door on him, and that's a disaster there for those two. And we can't see them at the moment because they're out of the camera shot. So we're trying to pick them up, but we can't. It's now continuing on their way. Paul Vidler's now ahead of Simon Blair. Simon Blair was obviously ahead before, but Paul Vidler there sending one up the inside. Simon Blair closed the door on him, wasn't letting him through, and Simon Blair's fuming. He's flashing his lights. He needs to keep his head here because I don't want to be seeing any funny business here. But that's a difficult situation there for those two. And Vidler there forcing his way through. Wow, contentious that one.
Is this better?
Let me double check because you sound the same obviously on my end, but on the stream. Let's double check.
That's the difficult situation there for those two. And Vidler there forcing his way through.
Yeah, once we got this done, we're good.
Let me double check because you sound the same. Wow, contentious that one.
I'm watching Blair at the moment.
Let me double check.
Yeah, that'll do. That's good.
Okay, cheers.
Yeah, these two came together a few moments ago. That was it was difficult to know really because Vidler sent one up the inside, and Blair just kind of closed the door. He wasn't letting him through. I mean, they're quite even, but Vidler's been chasing everyone down after his first lap incident. You saw, I'm sure you went past him on that at the end of that first lap.
Yeah, I felt like I was driving a truck when he passed me, so. Very talented racer.
Yeah, he's very out of position, is Paul Vidler, to be fair. It was just his incident at the end of the first lap. Went wide onto the grass, out of the chicane. And, yeah, unfortunately for him, it was just a bit of a kick in the teeth. He was keeping up with the leaders up to that point anyway.
Yeah, Martino's into the pits.
Yep. So it's an early pit stop again. We've seen quite a few drivers coming in way before the halfway point. I would have thought that a tyre change would probably be a no-brainer in a race like this. What was your plan before, obviously, the internet gods intervened, Raki?
Yeah, I fueled in for 85 laps, so I think I was able to do almost a 1 hour stint, a little bit less, 50 minutes I think. And then I was planning on changing tires. I had some damage after first corner collision, but I wasn't going to repair that.
Yeah, I can understand. That probably would have taken forever. Yeah, probably not worth. Well, not worth that extra stress.
I believe Huijmans now still hanging on, but I think he's quite pushing at the moment. The gap was a little bit smaller, but it's gaining a bit.
It is. He's keeping Vermeulen honest because the amount that Vermeulen was gaining on Eurons before, I thought that he was just going to skip off into the distance, but it hasn't been the case. The gap just creeps over a second now. But Yeah, difficult to know. And the first part of the race, when Hurans was pulling away, I thought that he was on a lighter fuel load. Now, I'm thinking it could be the other way around, and maybe Vermeulen was trying to save his tyres. But who knows at this point? It's really up in the air. We're not going to really know until we get towards the end. And obviously, those who spend longer in the pit box are going to be the ones who suffer most. But then they'll have they should, on paper, have the advantage now. But it's not really going to make any difference. Or rather, it will count against them later in the race.
It's Vermeulen's strategy to fill it all up. So I'm curious if that also is his strategy for a 90-minute race. So a heavy fuel load. He's quite talented on a heavy fuel load. So.
But the thing is, in my experience, there's never, if you're gonna do a half tank, you might as well change tyres. There's no point in doing one and not the other. So it's one of them, because obviously to make the tyres last 90 minutes, that's 45 laps, isn't it? Near enough. That is a long stint on one set of tyres. It's doable, but what sort of state are they going to be in?
Doable if you know that everybody's going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you know that somebody's going to be on fresh tyres charging after you at the end, it's not very moralising.
No, indeed.
I can see Blair's now got a gap of just over a second here to Vidler, so he's looking a little bit more comfortable. Obviously, Vidler, I think, had to let him back through. But yeah, he seems like he's pretty comfortable at the moment in 7th place. Vermeulen's got just over a second to Hurans as well. And elsewhere, there doesn't really appear to be too many battles going on at this point. But Vermeulen has extended the gap by half a second over the course of this lap. So he's starting to up that tempo a little bit here. And again, I'm just kind of looking forward to the pit stops here, because that's going to really give us a clue.
Oh, no, Scuderia pole.
Oh, what's happened? Oh.
He came on the grass in the first corner with his left rear tire in the braking zone, and he lost it.
Racky's managed to do what I've never managed to do, and that is mastering watching that mini-map in the bottom right-hand corner. I've never managed to get the grip of that.
I was just a lucky mate. But Scuderia was unlucky.
But he's still running in some good points at the moment, and if people continue to drop like flies in this race, then you never know how many points could be on the table. So there's every...
He had some air. The pit stop of others brought him in the top 10. So I hope he can do... I think he will go into the pit next lap, because he has severe damage, I think.
Yeah, it's not going to be doing him any good at this point. That's for sure.
Harumans is letting go. Gap is now 1.5 seconds. Or Vermeulen is really stepping on it because he wants to do a pit stop. Could be.
He wants to cover Hurans off of any potential overcuts here. Again, we don't know what the situation is in terms of their strategies, but I would have said earlier on that it would be Hurans who's lighter, but at this point now, I think that theory's definitely gone out of the window. And to be honest, I remember from last time, I was saying earlier in the stream, Hurans last time actually beat Vermeulen very comfortably. I remember it quite vividly. Vermeulen crashed on the final lap of the race. He was about 10-15 seconds behind and was just flat out at the end and ended up crashing. And it was one of those days where Hurans was just overall just a quicker driver. And this was back in the days when Vermeulen was usually the one who had the upper hand between them. So for me, it's surprising to see Vermeulen has got so much of an edge over Hurans tonight based on what we saw last time, which I remember really well. As we see them just putting a lap there on one of the lap cars, which is...
I think Martino.
That is De Martino. Yeah.
Oh.
And De Martino doing a good job there, moving well out of the way for the leaders. Good to see. But yeah, gap best part of 2 seconds now, and Hurans maybe now has got to start thinking about going long into this stint and maybe having the fresher tyres, that tyre offset in the second stint. Who knows? But maybe he's got to keep it out there for a bit longer and try and play the game here. But it's going to be interesting to see. We've got Paul in the pits at the moment after his incident. Obviously, Raki, you kind of called it with that one. And Blair and Vidler very close here, coming through the chicane. Only 0.3 of a second separating them all as Paul Vidler pulls into the pits. Does not want a repeat of what happened a few laps ago. He's getting himself out of that situation. Into the pits he comes here at the end of lap 20. Just over 2 seconds a gap here between Vermeulen and Hurans at this point. So Vermeulen continuing to just very, very gradually eke out that gap here. The momentum was slightly in the favour of Hurans in the early part, but that's now shifted significantly the opposite way. That was a hiccup, I do apologise. But Paul's still in the box here, Raki, so he's been in there now for a good while. Been at least a minute since he pulled into that pit box. Oh, he's off and away now.
He's up and away indeed. It's quite interesting because of the different pit stop strategies. The on-track lap times, differences I mean, could be quite different after a pit stop. Scuderia now has some blue flags, so he's very patient, very good.
Yeah, he did a good job there of seeing those cars coming out of the pits. So he's just behind, who's that, number 144 is it? Jamie Baker, yeah. And he's way ahead of Glenn. He's obviously a lap down and still yet to pit as well, so it's not been the night for Glenn. Or rather, no, Glenn is actually, he is just behind them. Sorry, I do apologise. He's not a lap down, but he is a pit stop behind. No, he is a lap down. So yeah, he's come out just behind Jamie Baker there in P15 in this race. But as I said before, Rocky's still plenty of points on the table, so he's just got to, I think, just grin and bear it at this point. Knows that there's
Bring it home.
Exactly. Yeah, just keep going. Don't give up. No point in giving up. We're nearly halfway through the race now. If you give up now, you'd have wasted the last 40 minutes. So.
And it's also about ignoring your instinct to be wanting to close the gap with the car in front of you. It's just be consistent, bring it home, and gather some points.
Yeah, definitely. It's a marathon, not a sprint, especially these 90-minute endurance races. Next week, different story, however. Obviously, we go to Imola next week, Raki. I want to get your thoughts on this. 2 30-minute sprint races next week. No pit stops. Flat out racing.
Back memories.
Brings back the Sprint League and the Porsche Super Cup. Oh, remember the
Super Cup, yeah, I loved it, yeah.
I was thinking of bringing that back on Saturdays. A sprint and feature race, 20-minute and 40-minute.
Yeah, love those cars.
Might bring it back on Saturdays.
Very good battles, yeah.
It was the winner in the vote. So I might.
And Imola for me is sort of an Italian Brands Hatch. You just have to be very concentrated during the whole lap, not make a mistake, not touch the grass, hit your braking points.
As the Imola track on this game, it hasn't got the gravel runoff right through Acqua Minerale, has it? Like it has in real life. Obviously on the game, it's still got the tarmac. This year on the F1, we saw a few drivers getting caught out. Hamilton went straight on over that gravel through Acqua Minerale. I mean, that was a death trap, that one. But in a way, actually, it's safer to have that gravel trap there, because if you think about it, the speed that you're going to be hitting the wall at, if you do, is going to be so much less without that runoff there. So in a way, it makes a bit of jeopardy, but it's also a safety improvement as well, having that gravel there. You know, because if say, for example, you've got no control of the car, that's going to actually be a lot more, it's going to be much better.
Quite an impact. Oh,
Yeah.
I think Blair is off. No, it's not Blair. Who's off?
Who is it? Is it a Ferrari?
No, I believe it was a McLaren. No, it's just too late.
I'm looking for a McLaren in distress, but I can't find one.
No, I think he's already on the track.
The gap is actually staying about the same now between Vermeulen and Hurans. It's not really going up much more anymore. It's staying at just over 2 seconds at this point. I've got Chris in the comments here saying, well, technically, if anyone leaves now, it's not 40 minutes wasted, as they could have had internet issues and get disconnected, then get bad damage and be unavailable to continue. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Chris. I mean, it technically is still 40 minutes wasted, but it's not through choice, it's through fate. So I suppose, in a way, you know, the concept still applies, but maybe in a different in a different form. But Vermeulen into the pits nonetheless at the end of lap 23. And Huron's still continuing on his way at the moment. So now he's released back into the lead. Vermeulen coming in bang on the halfway point. That smells to me, Raki, like a fuel top up and a tyre change.
Should be.
So Vermeulen and Overtaker both coming in here at the end of lap 23. Now, does this mean that Hurons is planning to go the distance without pitting for tyres, and is just going to come in and stop in his box? Has he fueled himself to the end here? Could that be why Vermeulen had so much more pace for him through most of that first stint?
Yeah, and it's really his talent. With a heavy car being quick, saving those tires, he brings tires to a distance with which other drivers can't.
Yeah, he definitely does. He's one of those conservationists who can always manage to eke out what most people, as you say, it would be almost impossible. He's just coming up to one of the drivers here, which is number 6 there, Ian Gray, just up ahead of him. And he'll be hoping that Ian Gray sees him and doesn't make too many dramas here for him at the moment. Overtaker in the pit, just coming out of the pits now. Gary Leach is in the pits here at lap 23, and so is Stefan Visser as well.
Well, this is interesting now because Heiermans is approaching the last corner. Let's see what he's going to do. Yeah,
straight in. Yeah, same strategy. That definitely seems like they're on the same wavelength here. So now Vermeulen's obviously going through the valley section now. Yeah. So Hurons, is he going to be? Did Vermeulen change tyres? I mean, I didn't see, but nonetheless, Hurons coming straight into the pits. So here he comes then out of the Schumacher S and through in towards the final sector of this lap here.
Could be interesting because, well, he's now come to a stop, Heiermans. Let's see. And Vermeulen's coming up the bend, coming up the hill.
Hurons right at the end of the pit lane, so obviously he won't move for a little bit because he's doing the full works, the tyres and the fuel, but once he moves he's only got about 20 metres to go until he comes out of the pits.
I think Vermeulen has it.
I think you're right. Huron still hasn't moved yet. Vermeulen coming over the line. He's now off the jacks.
There he goes. Oh, blue flag.
It's close. It's very close, but Vermeulen has done it, so he retains the lead. As expected, really. He took the lead a few laps ago. He comes out with a slightly smaller lead than what he had before he came in. The gap now, I think, under 2 seconds. It was over 3 before, so Hurons has gained a little bit, but not really enough. And Jared Vermeulen still has control of this race for the time being, but wonder if that's going to change the momentum here on these fresh tyres. Maybe Hurons will have a chance to try and make the most of them. We saw in the first stint on the fresh tyres, he was a bit quicker than Vermeulen, so are we going to see a similar story in the first part of this second stint here? That's what we're going to find out over the rest of this race. But yeah, these two, 1 and 2 here out on track at the moment. Clouden now has the lead of the race, having yet to pit. Simon Blair likewise. So there's just 3 drivers now left in the race who are still yet to pit. That's Clouden, Blair, and Glenn, who also hasn't been into the pits. And yeah,
it's still a long way to go. 41 minutes left.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, plenty can happen.
Oh, Heiermans is a bit too eager, I think. He's pushing real hard.
Yeah, he knows.
Still a bit cold.
He knows that now is the time where he needs to put Vermeulen under pressure, because if he doesn't get on him now, then I think Vermeulen will just start to pull away very slowly. So he needs to put him under pressure. Yeah. He needs to make him be looking in his rearview mirrors and not focused on what's ahead of him. Because I think at this point, Vermeulen has shown he's got the pace tonight. So if he gets in the clear, if he starts to feel a bit more comfortable, then I think that this could be a race over here.
Fernie is approaching Burton. Oh, which runs a bit wide in the last corner.
Massive chance for Fernie here. Yeah, he's going to have a right run.
Oh, yeah.
Saying that though, he didn't really get a very good exit.
Ideal. No, the exit is not ideal, but
too far back to send it into turn one. That's not going to happen from there. But saying that, though, he got a bit of a sighter, and he knows that Gary Burton may be struggling with a little bit of understeer at this point, so that could be his opening if it presents itself in the future. So, yeah, Fernie just needs to take that on board and continue to keep him under pressure here as the gap between... Yeah, definitely. Gap just over 2 seconds between the net 1 and 2 at the moment. Obviously, with Jamal Clouden still yet to come in and make his mandatory stop at some point between now and the end of the race. We don't know when he's going to make that just at the moment. Could he be waiting until the final lap to come in and do that? Is he going to be full tanking it and going the distance on one set of tyres? I imagine at this stage he probably is, and you bet that probably Simon Blair is also doing the same, albeit with his damage, which is going to be costing him time at this point, that is for sure.
And Fernie are really pushing. A lot of sliding, a lot of drifting. Not the best for the tires, and still 40 minutes to go, and they had a pit stop, so...
Yeah, it's not going to be good. It's I can imagine those tyres are probably going to be on a knife's edge at the end. Overtaker there, flashing his lights on the back of Simon Blair. Is he unhappy about something? I'm not quite sure. Obviously, Overtaker is on a different strategy here. Simon Blair yet to pit. Overtaker's been in, so maybe Overtaker getting a bit angsty here, thinking, well, come on, mate, I've been in, you haven't. Why don't you just make this easy for me? But Simon Blair obviously wants to get as much pace as he can. If he's letting Overtaker through, that's going to cost him time. So ultimately, he just wants to go flat out. And if Overtaker's getting held up behind him, that's not really his problem. But he's just going to get on with it, isn't he? Clouden into the pits.
It's going to his move. Oh, it's Ferrari.
There he goes, looks to the inside.
Really wide at back end.
Overtaker down the inside into turn one, and he makes that move there on Blair. He makes it stick as well, and that wasn't too dramatic there between those two in the end. So Overtaker now up into fourth place. Oh, and Simon Blair, no.
Oh, no.
That's naughty.
That's quite naughty and unnecessary.
Overtaker not happy with that, flashing his lights indignantly there. I can't blame him, because that's just, yeah, like you say, it just wasn't needed, was it, at all?
Yeah, just speaking in general, it happens a lot. These, in my opinion, stupid mistakes.
In that situation, being in Simon Blair's shoes, if I was racing, I'd feel relieved that the driver, who's obviously quicker than me, had got ahead without losing me too much time, so I could just then focus on my race. But he didn't, yeah, like you say, completely unnecessary, because in that situation, you know, the guy's obviously quicker. He's got past you. You haven't lost too much time at that point. Just let him do his thing. Get on with your race, and get some good points. But yeah.
And use him. You can benefit from the faster guy in front.
Yeah. Use him as a reference.
Yeah, indeed. Let him guide you.
One of those things. It's maybe a bit frustrating, because I know Simon Blair had his collision with Paul Vidler earlier on. Maybe that's still wound him up a little bit. I don't know, but yeah.
We don't see his actions or feel what he feels, so maybe he was a bit surprised by lifting a throttle or something. I don't know.
Could very well be.
But it's ideally just be cautious. You just got overtaken by a very nice move. Just be patient, especially in that sector. You can't do anything.
Well, we're going to see a repeat. Hopefully not in exactly the same fashion that we saw a moment ago, because Overtaker is closing that gap on the back of Blair here, under 2 seconds of gains, as we see Overtaker sliding around there through the Mercedes arena. He's going to be a little bit fired up now after that as well, so we could be seeing some more fireworks here. I wouldn't be surprised, considering that beforehand there wasn't too much bad blood, but now I reckon there may well be.
It would be gentlemanlike just from Blair, just to let him go, just let Overtaker pass. And
I can't see that happening.
Same race.
It would be nice, but I can't picture it. I'd love to be proven wrong, but it's not going to happen. Knowing the Mutts Nuts like I do, Simon Blair, for those of you who don't know, used to be the Mutts Nuts. He's not just going to wave him by. But yeah, it's going to be exciting to see. Obviously, Overtaker's got a massive tyre advantage. It should not be too difficult, but he just needs to pick his place and hope that Simon Blair can't poke his nose up the inside into the next corner. It needs to be a decisive overtake, a clear, obvious move which you can make stick, which is easier said than done. But as they come through the valley...
Very close now.
Looks to the inside there, throwing a feint coming up towards the chicane, but Blair's not having any of that. But I tell you what, Overtaker's going to be setting this move up, I'm sure. I don't think he was considering a move into the chicane there. He was just trying to put Blair off. He's mainly thinking about this main straight here, which is coming up now. If he can get a good exit out of here, then he's going to be set up beautifully.
Yeah, I just do the same.
To the inside here, Overtaker, once again, almost identical to the last time. Oh no, Overtaker, no, that was, oh dear.
Saw that one coming.
Now that to me, that did not look like that was an accident to me. That looked like that was a pit maneuver.
It's a very tricky one because you always the track bends a bit to the right. So if you think you think you are keeping a straight line, but the track still moves a bit to the right. So often these collisions happen just because of the layout of the track.
Yeah, could be. Maybe that's the cynical in me, just seeing it like that. But
It's the drama queen.
yeah, I don't know. It's something I would have done in an online lobby, but not in a league race.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
So I can relate to it. I'd never have done that in a league race, but like if somebody had taken me out in an online lobby, it's the kind of thing I would have done back to them. But yeah.
Yeah, but to be fair, they were both taking a lot of risks. And the Mutts Nuts, well, my opinion, just let Overtaker by.
He probably should have done that in the first place.
Nothing to win, only to lose, and this proves that point.
I potentially, I think Overtaker did that not to be spiteful, but to stop Blair from doing what he did last time. Maybe. I don't know. But I think this could.
That's why people are watching the drama.
Hopefully they enjoy watching this back afterwards once they've had a nice I don't know, whatever they need, whatever suits them, you know, a nice coffee, a nice cup of tea, or whatever. Hopefully they can watch it back and appreciate the excitement afterwards. But PM Motorsport, they're agreeing with myself there. Looked like a punt to pass. I imagine Mutz is raging right now. Yeah, definitely 100%. But the gap between Bermuda and Hurons has come down a little bit in the last couple of laps. It was best part of 3 seconds a few laps ago. It's not coming down by much, but it's just holding at 2 seconds right now, which is giving us hope that maybe Hurons could take this fight to Bermuda in the final third of the race. Just over a third of the race left to go here at the moment. Gary Burton's pulled away from Remy Fernie now. The gap's 2 seconds between those two at this point. Simon Blair, the only driver in the top 10, still yet to pit. Glenn is also still yet to pit at the moment. But the race settling down really, and I suppose our main hope now, Raki, for some drama is that Hurons can start to chip away to Vermeulen here. He's just napping one of the cars here as they come down the straight.
In. The gap is now 2 seconds. Slowly he's closing in. Very steady. It was 2.2, now it's 2 seconds, so I think he's smelling an opportunity. Just let's hope he's not 1 lap short, just like Norris today.
Yeah, that was a real shame, because to start off with, he was closing in so much, wasn't he, today? And then it was, I think his tyres started to go off, but then both of their tyres were going off, so the momentum was kind of shifting between Verstappen and Norris. Like, there were times where Norris was gaining half a second a lap, and then some laps he wouldn't be gaining anything at all. But yeah, it was a shame. I thought it was going to be 2 in a row for Lando. I thought after all of the waiting that he had to get his first win, he was going to get back-to-back wins. Generally, with 5 laps to go, I thought that was his race. I really did. Shame. It's a shame because if Norris had won 2 races in a row, that would have really sort of killed the Red Bull stranglehold, that momentum.
Indeed, yeah.
And that's what we need, really.
McLaren deserves it after all these years.
Yeah, for real. Their turnaround since the beginning of last year, they were the worst they'd been in years, a year and a half ago, and to see where they've come since then, it's crazy.
No, Harriman's just saves it.
What happened?
Well, he almost lost it on exit, but I think he's sweating a bit more now.
Yeah, he's just over 3 seconds behind Vermeulen now, so he's feeling that pressure a little bit. Very wide there, going out of the chicane onto the grass. So he really needs to pick it up now, but he knows that he needs to be consistent as well. And the thing is, you have to be on the limit to be able to do anything against Vermeulen. He's one of those drivers. He just gets everything out of the car. And, you know, you're looking at the counter, obviously, you've got 30 minutes left in the race. That's going to be about 15 laps altogether. And when you think about it, 15 laps, you've got to be 2-3 tenths a lap quicker to even be on the back of him by the end. And these two are so evenly matched that Hurens is probably looking at that timing board and thinking, can I even average 2 or 3 tenths a lap quicker over the next 15 laps? It's a tall order against a driver like Vermeulen, and it really is, because he is so consistent and so quick.
Yeah, at the moment though, he has a bit of a challenge with the Mazdas, I think, back marker.
Yeah, he's just been in.
Once again, off, rejoining again.
There he goes, down the inside of
It's
Vermeulen.
one of the psychological difficulties of racing. Smelling your chance, and you want to push, but sometimes it's better to ease off and then gain lap time instead of pushing.
Oh, yes, oh, definitely. Yeah, if you sort of take a step back, then you can actually be quicker sometimes, because quite often when you're being aggressive, you're sliding too much, you're scrubbing too much speed, and you're not actually maximising the performance of the car. Like, a lot of the time, just calmly, precision driving is the quickest way to drive. That is the best way.
The experience of thinking you did a very slow lap because it felt very slow, and then suddenly you drive your fastest time of the race.
The thing, what I found eventually, and it kind of took a lot of practice, was to start off with, I'd always be very aggressive. I'd always be pushing and pushing and pushing all the time. But then it's about finding that balance, because you do have to be aggressive. You do have to push, because if you don't try and extract every little bit and be a little bit aggressive, you're not going to find that extra, that pole time, that fastest time. But at the same time, you have to learn to be patient and calm before you get to that point. It's like a process. You have to learn how to drive calm before you learn how to drive aggressive. Once you've mastered being able to be consistent, that's when you can start going to that next level where you start tearing around like a madman.
This is very interesting at this point, because Vermeulen lost a bit of time, I think, behind the Mazdas, and now Harriman is approaching him. He's flashing his lights because he won 6/10 at the moment, so he's eager to pass him.
I mean, one thing we can say about the Mazdas is that he's not discriminate. You know, he holds everyone up equally. So he's not, you know, Vermeulen had to struggle with him, and now he's holding Hurens up equally. So in a sense, he's not really, he's not hating. He's not being biased towards anybody. He's just driving his own race. He doesn't care. And obviously in the
Turn his camera off inside.
Oh, there we go. He's let him through. There we go. Good man.
Okay, the gap maintains the same, I think. 2.6. No, like 3 seconds again.
So it's the same as what it was when they came up on Blair in the first place. So
Too bad.
no change. Yeah, basically.
So indeed, your story is correct.
Yeah. I think he did it just so that he wouldn't end up favouring Vermeulen over Hurons. Just wanted to say, look, I held him up. Now I've got to be fair. Oh, we got error code set in the comments.
What's that?
Error code.
Who's that?
Error code says, sorry guys, I've gone to load cell for first time tonight. My knee is broken. Human failure. What? Your knee's broken? Ouch. Did I read that right? Am I reading that right, Raki? His knee is broken.
Yeah, I hope not literally.
Yeah, Jesus. Maybe, I mean, Jamie, we hope that's okay. Yeah, prayers with you, my friend. That sounds agony. Yeah, I can't even begin to imagine.
Because, well, if he's on a load cell for the first time tonight, then often because of the switch you want to press the pedal as far as you're used to with your old pedals, and that doesn't work, and then you just give too much pressure, and then your knee is indeed going to hurt. So hopefully it's only that, and tomorrow it's better, my friend.
Yeah, thing is, it's a double-edged sword, because the more you practice with it, the more it's going to hurt. But also, you need to practice in order to gauge how much how much pressure is needed to apply. So it's one of those things, you can't really win. You've just got to go through the pain. No pain, no gain.
Let loose of the old feeling that you want to have your sort of the same travel as your own of your old pedal.
Yeah.
I'm struggling again with English. I need to practice, mate.
Yeah. Well, mate, in all honesty, I'm very impressed. I could never speak in any other language to the extent that you can. I can never commentate in another language. I don't know how people do it. I really, honestly, have so much respect for guys like yourself. I can't speak Welsh. No, seriously, I have so much respect for people who come on the mic, the confidence that it must take to speak in a language which isn't like natural to you. You know, because you must just have to be thinking consciously the entire time. It must be really difficult, but I respect it a lot. See, for myself, I can just watch what's going on and just react to it in real time, and I don't even need to think. But when it's not the way you naturally think, it's so much respect. Genuinely, it's insane.
It's quite frustrating because I have that same level only for listening. So if I listen to English, it's just as I'm listening to Dutch, so I don't need to translate. It's just
natural,
instant.
Yeah.
But the other way around is quite difficult. And like with German, I also really need to translate that a bit in my head.
Yeah. I bet it takes a moment, doesn't it? To sort of, like it would with anybody. It's one of those, I mean, I couldn't even attempt it, and I respect it. I really do.
You can always attempt, mate, always.
No.
Me and Burton are coming together again slowly.
Yeah.
Decreasing.
Yeah, he's definitely bringing it back. I think after the pit stops, they spread out a little bit. I don't know if anything happened to Fernie in the pit stop. Maybe he had a long stop in the box. But saying that, though, the gap's just extended there. Fernie just fell off a little bit, second and a half now. So, but yeah, on the whole, he's bringing that gap down. So that could be an interesting fight in the closing stages. Obviously, still 20 minutes left. Normally 20 minutes, we'd be saying that's a third of the way left to go, but obviously tonight we had a 90-minute endurance, so this now really the closing stages. We're into the final quarter of the race now.
Oh, who's that?
What happened?
I don't know. McLaren was off and he was about to rejoin, and then I just react because, oh, please rejoin safely.
Who was it? It wasn't. Fernie's close to Burton now. Look at this. It might have been Burton, because Fernie's within a second of him. He's gained a second in that last sector.
McLaren in front, I believe. Who was in the pink McLaren?
Oh, they're a lap ahead. Yeah, Overtaker.
Oh, Overtaker, indeed, yeah.
Overtaker's had a funny old race. I mean, he's running in third place. On paper, that's a really good performance. Obviously, he had his collision with Mutz, which didn't go too well. But yeah, on the whole, I suppose best of the rest tonight. But these two just in another league. We've said this so many times. As long as they're both here, it's okay. If one of them's here, it's the most hellishly boring race imaginable.
And I just need to give a small shout out to Glenn, because it's unbelievable that he's in that car, only 20 minutes still in the race, so he's on very old tires and he's still going and going. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's done brilliantly. And the Aston, it's not an easy car. Very nice livery as well. Earlier on, PM Motorsport was saying it looks like a Pepsi can. Is that Game Tech's colours? The red, white, and blue.
No, I don't believe. But it's the Union Jack is red, white, and blue. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I seem to remember because I thought for some reason I thought I was saying that Dutch flag is as well, isn't it?
yeah. It's a bit of my.
That'll be.
I believe I had quite the same livery on during the Porsche Cup.
Yeah, that's it. I remember. That's what I was thinking of. I was thinking I'm sure I've seen Raki in that livery. Yeah, that explains it. Yeah, Union Jack. How did I not think of that?
Really getting close. Only 4/10. He's within half a second. So if he keeps it steady, then.
Oh, yeah, that was a bit of a slide there from Fernie. But yeah, he's keeping him on his toes at the moment. And there's still plenty of time in the race, so he just needs to bide his time here. Needs to not get too ahead of himself. Obviously, it's easy to do so because you see the clock winding down, but there's still so much of this race left. It's a long race. So, yeah, he just needs to be patient here. And hopefully he'll be able to get the maximum here tonight. But gap's just steadily increasing again here between Bermuda and Hurons. We were saying before it could be race on for the win, but now he's looking a little bit more comfortable here. 3 seconds the gap is back up to here. Looking like Gary Leach is closing on DeMartino here. The gap between those two only 2 seconds. Paul Vidler also gaining on both of them, so we could have a battle for 5th place very soon here, Raki, between DeMartino, Leach and Vidler. This could get juicy as we see Vidler there making a move on one of the back markers. That's Paul there being passed by Paul Vidler. But yeah, P5, 6 and 7. This could be a fight very, very shortly as the gap is now nearly 3.5 seconds between Bermuda and Hurons.
Yeah, it looks like he really is letting go now. It's unbelievable for Möller how constant he is, his consistency, he's quick.
Yeah, I was saying before how with Hurons, I think the reason why he's pushing and making mistakes is because he knows that 3 seconds to Bermuda, you need to be absolutely on the limit every lap to be able to gain that in, even 30 minutes, even over 15 laps. If you're 3 seconds behind you at Bermuda, you need everything to go right. And so he basically had to just push, and the only way was to do qualifying laps from here to the end of the race, and it doesn't look like it's going to work out for him unless Bermuda makes a mistake, but he doesn't need to make a mistake. He's not in a position where he needs to push. He just needs to bring it home at this stage and be sort of like he can bring it home at 95% and he should have it in the bag. But I'm interested to see here. Gary Leach is still keeping DeMartino pretty close here. Only 2 seconds, and Vidler's gaining on both of these two. 5 seconds separating DeMartino, Leach, and Vidler. Also, Burton falling off at the back of Fernie now. Fernie's gapping him a little bit there in 11th place. So I think that battle might be done unless Fernie makes a mistake.
And I noticed that Scuderia Paul and Glenn are together, but I don't think they're in the same lap.
No, Paul's just let Glenn through.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is he stopping? He's slowing down here, Scuderia Paul. I don't know. Maybe he's just taking a breather. Letting I think that might have been a leader. Who was that going through? It was the race leader Vermeulen. It was, so that would be understandable. But yeah, gap nearly 4 seconds now between Vermeulen and Hurons. I think you're right, Raki. I think he's pretty much given it up now. He's given up the chase, bringing it home now.
Yeah, Scuderia Paul's often so unfortunate in races. It's just.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like he's often caught up in other incidents and stuff. It's tricky because that the mid pack can be brutal, It really can. And
Well said.
I mean, we've all been through it. Obviously, myself I've never been able to put the practice in on ACC, so I've always, if I ever raced, I'd always be stuck in that. And it's although everybody's clean for the most part, when you've got 25, 30 cars all charging into a tight space into turn one, as a general rule, you're never too far away from trouble. And there's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can do. I know we all pride ourselves on being clean, and these guys in this league are a real clean bunch of drivers. But sometimes all it takes is somebody to make a small mistake, and it's tears for everyone.
Yeah.
One person just needs to go a meter or two wide, and suddenly it's a chain reaction. It's dominoes. As somebody just went, did I see somebody go out wide there, or was that just maybe it was me? But the gaps between DiMartino and Leach are staying the same, and actually Vidler isn't really closing on these anymore either. So looks like we're pretty much set in those for the time being. We'll have to come back to that a bit later on. Hurans in the meantime has closed in a little bit on Vermeulen, and the gap was 4 seconds. It's now 3.6. So looks like Hurans has started to gain a bit of momentum here. Now the gap's down to 3.4. So he's gained half a second in the last lap here as Hurans.
Yeah, I was just about to say that Vermeulen finally have enough room. How do you say that? That's too bad.
Leeway.
Space.
I was thinking leeway, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, breathing space. Yeah. Yeah, he is.
But he can't really relax at the moment. He still needs to be very sharp, concentrated, and keep the pace up. Otherwise, Harjemans will be closing very fast.
Maybe you hit the nail on the head when you said about how he's just got some breathing space. Maybe that's why he's just started to drop it down a little bit now. Knows that he's got the race.
Indeed. Yeah, maybe just a small mistake. Because the tension is off.
One interesting story, which I'm sure isn't going to happen to Jared Vermeulen tonight, but it's one that stuck with me, is Damon Hill talking about when he was leading Monza one time, and he had a comfortable lead, and he was guaranteed to win the race, and he was pumping in fast step after fast step, pushing and pushing and pushing, and he said to himself, right, I'm just going to relax now, I'm not going to push, I'm just going to start taking it easy and bring it home and not do anything silly. And literally at the very next corner, he wasn't focusing properly, just kind of let his guard down and went straight over one of the sausage curbs at the chicane and put it in the wall, and that was him out of the race.
That's how that works.
Yeah, sometimes letting your guard down and relaxing can actually have the opposite effect, because even though you're not pushing, basically it's that less intensity causes you to lose focus and take a corner differently from how you've been taking it the rest of the time. And because you're so used to taking it in a certain frame of mind, you then switch that frame of mind to something else, and suddenly you find yourself in a completely different arena from what you've been over the course of that race. It just puts you on it kind of desyncs you from the zone you've been in, which I is like, that's the way I read it from my experience with sim racing. And again, I'm not a professional racing driver, by far from it, but that's just my understanding of having driven in races. And it's been a long time since I've raced, but that's my interpretation of it.
Yeah, but it's very interesting experience, even with a computer game, sim racing like this. The pressure you can experience if someone's close or closing in, not to make mistakes. Just imagine how it is in real life. It's so weird.
Oh, definitely.
And that for 60-70 laps with 200 miles an hour or something like that.
Yeah, the pressure must be absolutely immense. It's difficult to imagine. It's difficult to imagine even having the skill to be able to do that, let alone having to deal with the pressure as well on top of it. yeah, it's the best of the best. It is the pinnacle, isn't it? Oh, as you see a massive moment there for Di Martino going through the chicane, really sideways there on the exit, and got onto the grass on the way out of the corner as well. That was very close to tears there for him, but he's still ahead of Leach and Vidler. But I tell you what, these two are now starting to reel him in rapidly now. These three are all constituting up. Less than 3 seconds now separating these three drivers. This is going to be an exciting finish here as we approach the final 10 minutes of the race.
Fiddler is showing some really steady pace, so I'm curious if Leach in the Porsche can keep the back end steady, not losing it.
Yeah.
Ah, he snaps.
Oh, close.
Oh, commentator Chris, sorry mate.
He's still got him behind, but Vidler's looking up the inside here, down towards turn 5. They're side by side. Is this going to be the move here for Paul Vidler? He's looking up the inside, trying to take P6 away from Gary Leach, but Gary Leach holds it around the outside. Not quite a job done there yet, but if he continues to force him under this sort of pressure, then I'm sure that Leach will eventually have to concede, because he seemed like he was just feeling it a little bit too much there.
Yeah, it was some proper racing, giving each other enough room. You want to finish both.
This is giving Di Martino a chance to just escape a little bit here in 5th place as well. So he will be, I'm sure, pretty happy to see these two tripping over each other in his rearview mirrors. And hopefully for him, he can now just cement his position in a P5. But for Leach here, he's going to have his wits about him for the remainder of this race.
I think Leach knows that Fiddler is faster, but he's really giving it everything. Placing it everywhere.
I predicted in the early stages. I predicted after about, I think it must have been on about 15-minute mark into the race, maybe about lap 7 or 8. I predicted that Paul Vidler, I think, would be targeting a P5 in this race, and I'd say that's very much on the cards, but he needs to clear Gary Leach quickly. I mean, it's doable. It really is. Like you say, he's got some pace. He's got some serious pace. I reckon I'd say he's the 3rd fastest driver tonight out on track after Vermeulen and Hurens.
Well, coming in a tricky part again for the Porsche, I would say. It looks like Leach is pushing exactly enough. He's not overdoing it. He found his momentum again. Ah, come on. That's awesome to see how he's fighting the Porsche.
He likes to drive it loose. I remember that because I used to race against Gary Leach back in Simplay in their Pro GT3 on Project Cars 2. And I know he lives on the edge. I remember that.
It's interesting if Fiddler is going to recognize the patterns of sliding during the lap, which Leach does, so maybe he can use that fact. Oh, there he goes.
Oh, down the inside. Leach has got the momentum around the outside, though. Will hold it and will keep himself ahead for the inside for the next corner. Tell you what, though, if Vidler's smart about this, he will go to try and sucker him down towards the valley section. He's going to get a good exit here. Through we come. They're going to be flat out through this right-hand kink, and Gary Leach is going to have to give him space there because he's on the inside. He's got his nose alongside. Here we go. Look to the outside now as Vidler has got nowhere to go. Gary Leach squeezing him right to the edge of the track. He's going to try and go around the outside here. Into the chicane. Into the endurance chicane. He can't complete the move there. Gary Leach holds on, and Vidler's going to lose out there as well to one of the back markers. So Paul Vidler's going to be fuming with that. Gary Leach, a very aggressive defence. It was, I'd say, on the limit there. Maybe a bit below the belt there from Gary Leach.
Yeah, it was maybe a little bit too much touring car racing.
Yeah, a little bit too much there, I think, as we see the race leader. That wasn't the back marker, that was the race leader, Jared Vermeulen, who was just putting a lap on, he's put a lap on Vidler. Now he's going to be putting a lap on Gary Leach as well in a second.
Yeah, this is very challenging for a racing leader. If two cars are battling that hard, you have to be very cautious.
Certainly do. So obviously now Vermeulen can disappear into the sunset here, but Leach has got Vidler looking up his inside there into turn 5 again. Not close enough at this point. aggressive defence from Gary Leach there going into that final chicane, which could have been considered by some maybe as a little bit too aggressive, but it will be open to interpretation. I'm sure that everyone's going to have their own opinions on the matter. For me, I'd have to look at the onboard to have an idea, but definitely watching it live, it looked to me like it was on the absolute limit of what's acceptable.
Yeah, it's 5.5 minutes to go. I think Leach and Fiddler is very interesting if Fiddler is going to have an opportunity before the end of the race. Because now Huijmans is coming up, so blue flags for both of them.
Here we come then, through the little dip and up the hill towards the chicane once again, and this time Vidler's way too far away, not even close enough to really have a look there on Gary Leach. Last lap around, obviously they were side by side through the valley section.
Huijmans is eager that they both move over, I think. Again, the gap is just within 3 seconds at the moment with Vermeulen.
Yeah, he's bringing it down bit by bit, but I think he's left himself with too much to do, and plus he's got traffic, and also that gap would have come down because of the traffic as well, I think. So what we're seeing now is just the fact that Vermeulen's already dealt with that traffic, whereas Huijmans has still got to deal with it. So yeah, I think we're going to be seeing a knock-on effect in a second. Oh, they're side by side here. These two are still battling as well.
Scrubbing and rubbing.
But
it's difficult for Huijmans.
yeah, it really is. It really is. I think to be honest, I think it was a bit beyond him, the win anyway at this point. I know it's frustrating to sort of have it confirmed like in that sort of way, but I don't think he would have been able to reel him in. But it's a shame that he couldn't have a crack at Vermeulen. That is a shame. He couldn't give it his all. But then again, the gap wouldn't have come down like it had if Vermeulen hadn't have been held up by that traffic beforehand as well. So
Oh, this is hard racing.
yeah, he can't get it done though. Still Gary Leach somehow keeping on to this one. Paul Vidler looking to the inside here, through into the next corner. He's going to try and dive down the inside. This time he might make it stick. No, he gets sideways there, all over the place. That rear end slipping out like crazy there on the back of that Ferrari. And Gary Leach once again with that stability in the Porsche. Once again, that traction that the Porsche's got, so much better than the Ferrari. The Ferrari quicker in a straight line, but the Porsche is saving grace, is coming out of those slower corners. And at the moment, he's still clinging on to this one as they come through the chicane once again here on the end of the lap. Oh, it's a massive slide there from Gary Leach. Oh, and he's lost it. He's onto the grass. And that's Paul Vidler there getting his reward. His perseverance has paid off. Up into P6 he goes with a couple of laps left to go in the race as he lets one of the leaders through. That's Huijmans, obviously, who was trying to make that move on both of them a few moments ago. Leach has now dropped way back off of the rear of Vidler, and Paul Vidler does get himself into 6th place, and he's now way behind De Martino. Crazy to think that these two were on the back of De Martino a few laps ago. Now that he's obviously managed to pull away with those two focusing on each other. But yeah, job done.
Same in the front, it's all playing into the hands of Vermeulen. The gap is now 7 seconds, so to take the win within 2 minutes.
Yeah, he's got 2 laps left to go here now. Well, a lap and a half now at this point. But yeah, he's just going to be churning at this point. Knows that it's in the bag and doesn't need to do anything drastic. Doesn't need to push and have a last lap incident like obviously what happened to him the last time we raced here. What a far cry from the last time when Huijmans was the dominant force and Vermeulen ended up crashing on the final lap as he was pushing so hard to try and close the gap. He wasn't going to win anyway on that particular night. It was already a done deal, the race win. But nonetheless, tonight it's been a completely different story, a total role reversal between these two here tonight at the Nurburgring. And you've got to say hats off to Jared Vermeulen, because the last couple of seasons haven't been the best for him. He's been a bit inconsistent in the last few seasons, but this time he seems to have come back with a bang. And this is definitely the old jazz man that we're seeing right now. This is the one that we became so accustomed to back in the old days at Motive. It seemingly is he's backer than before and back to his best.
Yeah, maybe at a period that real life was getting in the way of sim racing.
Yeah.
And the last weeks he time to practice and get back to his old level of racing.
I certainly think that could be the case. It's but it's good. It's great to see that he's extracting the best out of the car again. Definitely back to something that I think pretty much is best. I don't think we've seen Jazzman actually this good, if ever, but certainly for a long time. But you know, they're still pretty close, and as long as they're both here every week, we should be hopefully seeing a good battle for the win each and every week. I don't mind seeing two people dominate, as long as there's more than one person in the fight for the win. So, you know, it could be one or the other from one week to the next, and that's great. That's the great thing about these two rivals. They're so evenly matched. It could be one of them. It could be either of them. But nonetheless, we're on the final lap here tonight at Motive for the GT3 Championship. This is round 4 of Season 8 for the final 90-minute endurance of the season. Obviously, the rest of them are going to be 30-minute sprints. We've got 2 30-minute sprints, or a double 30-minute sprint round, 2 of them. And we've also got 2 60-minute races with a mandatory pit stop to go. So 4 races left. Tonight's the halfway point in the season. A bit of a change up. Obviously, we used to run 60-minute mandatory pit stop every week, but this season we're doing 4 of the traditional format, but then a couple of sprint rounds and a couple of endurance rounds, just to kind of mix it up a little bit and add to the variety and excitement, and potentially test a few different skill sets between amongst drivers that race in our leagues. But nonetheless, here comes Jared Vermeulen into the chicane for the final time here tonight at the Nurburgring, and it's been a dominant night here from him. Hasn't really allowed Hurons to have a look in ever since the midway through the first stint, where he reeled him in, overtook him, and just disappeared off the road. Jared Vermeulen up towards the line. It's going to take the win tonight here at the Nurburgring. What a fantastic drive from him. It's going to be Hurons over the line to take P2. Definitely so. DeMartino finishes a lap down in P5 ahead of Gary Burton, who is 2 laps down in 11th. Bidler a lap down in 6th. Huron's obviously second place tonight. Simon Blair coming into the final chicane. Remy Furley 2 laps down is going to finish this one in P12 as he comes out of the final corner now. So next over the line after him. So Remy Furley there, P12. Simon Blair coming out the final corner. It's going to be 8th place here for him as he comes over the line. Overtaker, long way to go yet. Be a while before we see him. Avissa coming through the chicane. Ian Gray into the valley at the moment. So Avissa will be the next over the line. 1 lap down, should I say, in P9. Remco Cohn coming into the final part of the lap. Ian Gray out of the final corner. P13 for him in the end. As there he is crossing the line. Remco Cohn into the chicane. Overtaker next over the line. 3rd place for him. A great podium finish there for Overtaker. It's going to be Clouden a little way behind him in 4th. He's be round shortly. Cohn, top 10 for him, a lap down. Scuderia Paul is going to finish in 14th, 2 laps down. Glenn's finished in P15, I think 3 laps down in the end. Paul over the line. There he is. So it'll be Clouden, the last driver to finish the race here, in 4th place. The last driver on the lead lap, as here he comes through the final corner. And Jamal Clouden there to pick up some really good points here tonight. It'll be a matter of time before he's on the podium, I'm sure. But great stuff here tonight. Vermeulen, Hurons, obviously in a league of their own again, Raki, but we saw some exciting racing tonight.
Yeah, like you said, it's very nice to see maybe 3 overtaker could also join. I think the Martino was also very quick, so I think we have a possibility of 5 drivers which really could have some severe battles in Imola next race.
Yeah, for sure. With a 30-minute sprint race, obviously, as well. I mean, everyone's quite tightly bunched. If somebody loses position at the start, it's going to be really hard to regain that. So yeah, it's going to be non-stop action next week. And make sure you join us at 8 p.m. UK time, same time as always next week for the 2 sprint rounds. Raki will be back out on track, fingers crossed. Won't run into the same issues, but if he does, he's welcome alongside us anytime. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me tonight, mate. It's been a pleasure, and it's been really enjoyable to share this experience with you, because I usually sit here on my own, so it's very nice to have someone to talk to.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's fun to share, and well, I hope my internet is okay next week. Otherwise, I will join again.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks very much, ever so much, guys. And we're going to finish things there here for tonight. But yeah, obviously, if you're interested in motive, then all we need to do is go to our Discord. I actually need to reconnect our website because currently the servers, the domains, been disconnected because somebody hasn't paid for it. So I'll be sorting that out very soon. But our Discord link is is all over the place. It's probably quite, I don't know actually where to find it, but anyway, not a great time to be plugging our Discord. But yeah, anyway, thanks ever so much, everybody, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Take it easy. Good night.